Welcome to the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports news and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the best co-host anyone can ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all from NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. So let's do this. Here's Sonny Clark.
All right, everybody, welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio here on our Sunday morning tradition that continues now on into our 13th year. At the end of the NFL season, we will be on air for 14 seasons, guys. That's a long time, and we got no signs of slowing down as here on the Couch Potato Sports Show, we start kicking it off, and I mean kicking it off, with the Sexy Mustangs. That's right, live play-by-play video commentary is right here on the Couch Potato Sports Show as the Sexy Mustangs take on the Cop-Out Cowboys, a team that they are not strangers to, but at the same time, this is a team that is a tough team. Out of district games for the Sexy Mustangs starts with those Cowboys and then goes to the Prosper Eagles. Two of the best in the state of Texas as they move into only 2 out of district games this season. And then they go into district play at game number 3. So excited about that, what is coming up. We are, literally only 18 days away from kickoff here on the Couch Potato Sports Show in the Sexy Mustangs. But today is what it's all about. It's what we get ready for. We got 4 weeks until we start kicking it off right here on the Couch Potato Sports Show with week number 1 of the NFL, as the September 11th is the day that we go from 9 up until kickoff. Sometimes we even, go a little bit further into it as far as that is concerned, depending on what we're talking about and things of that sort and how the show goes. We may drape over a little bit. But that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. Today is the day when we start really looking at what the NFL is. So we do the two-a-days. It's the two-a-days of the NFC and AFC East that is happening today. And I'm excited about it. I've been working on it really hard, been looking at and getting everything I need to know as far as what I think is going to happen. Cuervo's going to be hopefully joining me. I probably should have shot him, but he's awake. So he's going to be fashionably late. He might have went and got a high and tight. But we're all set and ready to rock and roll as far as the NFL is concerned and the AFC and NFC East. So it's going to be an exciting time as we move through 17 weeks of the NFL when that kicks off. And then, of course, these two-a-days. We're going to do the East today. Next week is the South, AFC and NFC South. Then the AFC and NFC North, and then the NFC and AFC West. So we're going to 4 weeks, and that'll take us right up into the NFL season, week number 1. So exciting times here on the Couch Potato Sports Show, getting set, whether it be what we're doing here or anything like that. So I want to talk a little bit as while we're waiting on Cuervo. You want to get involved with our Pick'em game, guys. I'm telling you, this is I finally opened it up because normally, guys, I'm writing everything down. I'm the king of the old school, I guess you can say. But this year, we had a lot of people that wanted to be involved with the Pick'em. So I put it all up on a Yahoo Pick'em site, okay? And you're just going to pick the winners. And so that being said, you'll be able to keep track of it right there. I'll post it every week, put up a graphic and show everybody what we're doing. Anybody and everybody is eligible. However, if you miss 2 weeks of games, we are going to eliminate you out of the Pick'em because there's no way for it to come back from an 0-26. There's no way that you can get up there or, so you got to be committed if you're going to do it. And it's a lot of fun. We've been kicking it off and having, a lot of fun with it. So I'm really looking forward to that. So take a look at that. That's right. It's our pick'em game. You are all welcome involved to get involved with that. And now we have the gentleman that didn't win last year. Damn near did win though. But let's just bring him on in. It is DC Dennis Clark. Oh my goodness.
Hey, what's going on?
There we go. Yeah. I don't need to see your nostrils flaming here this morning.
There, is that better?
It's DC Dennis Clark. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excited. Excited. Look what we got going. We got the NFL 2 a days. We have the Saxony Mustangs getting, going through there, and then we got our every Sunday look at them, bragging rights. I've been waiting for this. It's been a long 6 months.
Oh, I know. I've been watching some of the preseason stuff, and it just gives me a little taste because it's not that good, especially if you watch.
God, especially my Jaguars. Oh my God, were they that bad? I almost ended up crying as I was sitting there watching this and going, "This is the year. This is the year." Yeah, right. Okay. So definitely. We're a little slow on the uptake as far as the Jaguars were concerned.
Well, I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to it, and it's we went to a local ball game here in
yeah. How is that, by the way? It's local baseball there back in Springfield, Illinois. We know about minor league baseball in Springfield, Illinois.
Right. Well, when we went on bobblehead night, and we were excited about that. We got a bobblehead.
What bobblehead was it? Was it one of the younger guys, or was it some of the old time Springfield guys?
It's one of the old time. I don't know his name. I don't know his name. I just wanted the toy.
Yeah, there you go. So all right, man. Hey, that may be worth money later on, man.
Huh?
That may be worth money later on.
Well, I'm saving the bucks.
There you go. How was that? By the way, did you make it back for the wrestlers that were going to be there for that? Did you make it back for that?
I didn't make that game, and from what I heard, they didn't show. So, but I've got one more thing I wanted to show you, and I think it's.
Oh yes. That is the initial championship of the bragging rights pick'em game right there. And we got that going out again for the winner. Of course, it's going to be on my mantle.
Yeah,
I will have that. So that's.
I was bitterly disappointed last year. One game, and I was winning the entire season.
Well, that's all going to change. By the way, what is this? Are you doing the Sonny thing here now? You figure that might look good for you?
Oh no, this is my I don't care look.
I don't care look. Yeah. By the way, you're going to become everybody that don't know this is my brother, DC Dennis Clark. You're going to become a snowbird.
Yes, I am. I'm going to start my summers out in
your winters.
Yeah, I know. I'm just being sarcastic.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sarcastic. Got it. Yeah.
Hey, you go there now. It's 130 degrees out there.
Crazy. Absolutely
not very fun.
No. But it's like it is here, man, with the humidity. It's 98 degrees. It makes it feel like 114 in Arizona.
I just wanted to stick my head in and say hi because I've got company right now, and they're watching. They're watching on my big screen, and they're seeing both of us. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's quite scary on the big screen. But hey, I look good this morning. I got a lot of sleep, so I look good today. So hey,
I got a lot of sleep last night too, but it's ugly don't go away unless
But as they say, beauty's only skin deep, but ugly goes all the way through.
That is correct. Well, you have a great show, Sonny, and we'll talk at you soon, man.
We will. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully I'll get Cuervo here. I might have to text this sorry ass to get him in here. So good to see you, DC.
Good help.
By the way,
so hard to find.
I'm kicking your ass in. I'm kicking your ass in the Pick'em League this year. It's just the way it is. By the way,
do your hours of analyzing, and I'll just take my 2 minutes and pick my teams.
Make sure you send me who you think will end up first, second, third, and fourth in the NFC and AFC East.
Okay.
And send that to me because I still do a little old school, so I write it all down. But the pick'em's going to be done on Yahoo too, by the way. So that's kind of good, makes it easy for you. And I have to keep track of it.
All right, man. Love you, man. You be good.
Be good. Good to see DC Dennis Clark, the boss. Winner of the bragging rights pick'em that we have each and every year. 2 years ago, damn near won it again. Needless to say, that has to change, and I'm going to make sure that it does change. So hopefully we'll get Cuervo in here in a couple of minutes, get him squared away. What I'm going to do, because as you notice, I've been drinking coffee. I am going to warm up my coffee. And guys, when we come back, we'll talk about some things that are going on in the NFL. And then when Cuervo gets in, we'll hop in. We'll start with AFC East and then do the NFC East after that. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to get all set. We're going to take a quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. And that being said, we'll be right back.
At Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. We are locally owned and with over 20 years of experience, so roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage are no problems at all. Give us a call at 214-200-5588. That's 214-200-5588. Wesson General Contractors.
The prospect of retirement can be exciting and scary at the same time. At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement fail to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. What is it? How does it work? It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. Because these decisions are so important, my firm has assembled an informational packet on Social Security. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com. At the Jerry Bullet Training Center, we are a motivated team of coaches with the mindset of helping you achieve and reach your highest goals. Having developed and trained over 100 Division I athletes as well as Division II athletes, even professional athletes, the Bullet team definitely has the knowledge and mindset to take you to the next level. Check out our new 22,000 square foot facility and 3,000 square foot weight room, along with 4,500 square feet of outdoor turf and covered training area, along with football and soccer fields. Contact Melvin Bullitt at 214-326-7853 or visit their facility just outside of Waterview at 8900 Princeton Road in Rowlett.
Being taken for a ride? Check out Casso Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance and save a ton. Casso Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CassoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
back into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we're here on our Sunday morning tradition that continues now on into our 13th season of being here. Now, crazy times during the NFL, and I will tell you one thing that I know is that you never know what is going to come out in the NFL rumors. It's absolutely nuts that's going on. Then, of course, you have the facts, some of the things that have been happening. Denver Bronco wide receiver is going to be out for the season. A couple of guys retired after the first week of training camp, realizing, damn, we got to do this again. One was even a rookie, went through the first week, and that was just about enough. So a lot of things happening in the NFL. And one of the things that's happening is big-time rumors, especially with what's going on as far as Cleveland. Now, we can talk all day long, but what some of the facts that have happened is the Browns did sign Josh Rosen to a one-year deal. Specifics were not let out of that when I got this notice. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't matter. Simple fact of the matter is Josh Rosen is one of these guys that was drafted really high, came out was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. And then, unfortunately, we didn't get a lot from Josh Rosen as he stayed in Arizona and then bounced to a couple of football teams. Now, with the situation that is happening in Cleveland, Josh Rosen is signed. Now, one of the other things that is going on is that, guess what? Yes, Colin Kaepernick is actually being rumored to be someone of an interest in Cleveland. Now, good, better, and different, it is just what it is. But I was, as I scroll every once in a while, I get up on Facebook and I read. It was interesting that I read this post, and the way it was written was interesting because you know how football teams get all set. They got their starters, they got the second and third guys at the quarterback position. But as soon as that guy goes down, that team is out looking for a quarterback instead of depending on the guy that they are paying to be the backup. And I found it interesting because, that does happen more and a lot. Now, a lot of times that happens more times towards the end of the season. And if there is a guy that is available that has experience, more so than bringing in a rookie or a guy that hasn't played very long, I almost get it. But this happens usually at the beginning of the season, too, as when a quarterback will go down on a vital team, they start scrambling. Now, whether or not they're scrambling, I don't know. Whether or not that they have about 3 or 4 guys that they know that they can get that are off and we can offer them some money and get them in here instead of playing our second or third quarterback. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. I completely understand it. But at the same time, what's going on with the training? What's going on with the looking at the books, seeing the playbook, and getting these guys time in order in case that happens? But yet we've seen, lately that there are teams that will go out and sign a guy that is not necessarily the backup. So when all this is said and done, what does that do for the quarterback at the second and third spot? I mean, it's got to be an ego kill in reality when you think about it. Because here you are, you're sitting there and you're playing, you're doing what you got to do in order to be that number 2 guy. And then all of a sudden, bingo, bango, bongo, they bring in somebody else. Colin Kaepernick is a guy that is swinging around as far as a legitimate idea for the Cleveland Browns. So Josh Rosen and the other guy who's going to be backing up, as far as Jacoby Brissett, I think is who it is. So now Jacoby Brissett's not good enough. So now we got 3 guys that are questionable, whether it's Josh Rosen, Jacoby Brissett, or for all that matters, Colin Kaepernick. Now, Colin Kaepernick hasn't been out on the football field for 5 years. So let's just say this. This would be a classic Browns move. Why? Simple enough. The Browns don't do anything right when they are going to do it. And the simple fact of the matter is Colin Kaepernick has not been out on the football field for 5 years. Why even waste time and or the $5 million that supposedly the rumor going around to bring in Colin Kaepernick? Now, if you got $5 million to throw away, hey, just send me about 50, 60,000. If you're just gonna piss the money away, you might as well bring it to a guy like me that at least can bring some entertainment. But that being said, obviously that's not what will go down, but it will be interesting to see if they do get a Colin Kaepernick signing in Cleveland, because it just goes right along with what they've been doing for years, which is not the right thing. Now, you can argue back and forth whether or not the Baker Mayfield situation should or should not have happened. Me, I'm one of the persons thinking, dude, you are about ready to get rid of a guy that you're committed to, okay, and at a cheap rate, and you just let this guy go, and then you got Jacoby Brissett sitting right behind it, and that's the guy you're going to go. Never mind the guy that brought you to the playoffs for the first time in so many years, made won football games that you had no business winning, and you can say whether, it was despite him or he was a part of it. Either way, this team beat the Steelers a couple of times when they probably shouldn't have, a playoff spot on the line, all that stuff. Now you throw it away for Jacoby Brissett or Josh Rosen, or, if you believe the rumors, one Colin Kaepernick. So this is atypical Cleveland Browns. This is the moves they do. These are the things that they do to make them the laughingstock of the NFL, never mind the NFC or the AFC North, which, by the way, has the Ravens, the Bengals, as well as the Browns in it that they play in. And then, of course, you still got to figure out how you're going to, win that division. And it's not easy. The Pittsburgh Steelers are still, with a rookie quarterback. They are wanting and saying, hey, look out for us for the playoffs. Maybe not winning the division. Now, and Todd Mintz mentioned this last week, and I kind of poo-pooed the idea, but I was sitting there thinking, interestingly enough, you got everything that's going on over in the AFC West. What's going on as far as that is concerned is simple. You got 4 quality football teams if you believe the hype. When you got 4 teams within a division, one of them is going to take a nosedive. Is it going to be the Raiders? Is it going to be the Chargers, Kansas City, or the Denver Broncos? Denver losing a wide receiver, but they still got Sutton in there, so that's pretty good. But one of those teams is going to take a nosedive. Same thing over in the AFC North. Maybe 3 teams are going to be quality, and one of them is just going to be garbage. I mean, set the dumpster fire, and the way Cleveland does their business, it sure in the hell looks like it's going to be Cleveland. Now, if you go back a couple of years, Cleveland is in thought of winning the division or coming in second or at least making the playoffs, and guess what? They defied all those odds. They defied what the Cleveland Browns are, and guess what? Bingo, bongo, bongo, there they are in the playoffs. Now, granted, it wasn't a great outing, but when you think about what the Cleveland Browns are, you don't think playoffs. Not for at least for the last 25 years you haven't, unless, of course, you're a Cleveland Brown fan. So where does this leave the Cleveland Browns? Well, it leaves them in a lot of trouble because of the Deshaun Watson situation. They threw down the 6-game suspension. Roger Goodell and the NFL want more, supposedly, if you believe all the reports. And I'm telling you where this is coming from, and I'm going to give you the idea of why this is all happening. So I guess it's a time for a little conspiracy. That's right, conspiracy couch here to lay you the foundation on why all this is happening with the Cleveland Browns. So let's go back to the beginning of last season. Well, guess what? No Deshaun Watson for the whole year. And that was I'm telling you right now, it was a backroom deal between the NFL and the Houston Texans. And agreed upon by Deshaun Watson. So he goes the whole year. And during that year is when he needed to get his nose to the grindstone and get rid of all of these reports, and he didn't. Instead, he decided, well, I'm going to play, I'm the innocent one. And that ended up pissing off the NFL. And now they're in the situation now to guess what? Well, now they're going to have to figure it out. And now they're going to suspend him with this. They went ahead and wanted to change everything. The 6-game suspension, they want more. And if you would have took care of business, this thing would have been done and said a long time ago, and they didn't. So it's backlash from the NFL. Never mind the Houston Texans, settling with 30 other women. No, nothing happened here. Nothing to see here, but it is. But that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. Let's bring him on in. He's fashionably.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
Sunday morning. I can't say. All right, let me hit the button. There we go. Everybody can see. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
What's going on, Sonny? How you doing, bud?
I've been excited. I mean, I don't know if you've seen my Facebook page with and all the we are getting ready for Saxy Mustang football right here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We are doing the NFC AFC 2-a-days starting this week, and you're fashionably early. I mean, geez, only half hour. You are on the ball.
I do what I can to contribute to the show. I do what I can to contribute.
There you go. So it's always good to see you. How you doing? By the way, I saw your wife's mug and that ugly, that ugly horse picture on that mug that she's got there. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
You mean the My Little Pony that she put
on?
Yeah,
My Little Pony. I saw that too. That was funny. So My Little Pony. I bet you she loves Sonny this morning. But hey, it is what it is. Got some mad love going with your lady, but it is.
The boys of fall are back, Sonny.
I know. By the way, did you? Back. Yeah. By the way, did you watch Thursday Night Football? Was that pretty pathetic?
I watched. I watched a little bit of it yesterday on the replay.
On the replay, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't want to take your time on a Thursday night to sit down and watch that garbage, that dumpster fire that is known to be the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, you know what? My wife and I went out, had a nice steak dinner Thursday. That's why we didn't watch. I did catch some of it at the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
And I was like, the Raiders are winning, and it completely, well, especially for her, it's completely disgusted her. So
yeah, so there you go.
Oh, the game doesn't really mean anything.
Especially when those two teams don't never make the Super Bowl. So we're sure the Raiders and the Jaguars will not make the Super Bowl. So
True.
Those fans of those teams, you can just, lay that to rest.
How many years has that been now?
Every year, ever since they've been doing that.
So it's never happened.
Yeah, didn't happen.
Wow.
So yeah, pretty sad, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Something tells me I don't want to be on the Hall of Fame game as if I'm looking to be in the Super Bowl. But
here's another way to look at it, Sonny. So if you notice, the teams that play in the Hall of Fame game normally are the teams that have a headliner that are getting in the Hall of Fame. So obviously, with your Jacksonville Jaguars, Tony Baselli gets in.
By the way, working very hard on trying to get him on. He's kind of busy right now, but it's very hard trying to get him on the show with the connections with Tom McManus. He had him on the show. So he's going to stick his neck out for me so we can try to get Tony on the show. Seeing how I do have a Houston Texans jersey with his name on it. So I did follow the man.
Okay.
Although he didn't play it down there, but it is what it is. But now, let me ask you, you've been studying up, you've been looking at everything, trying to figure out what we're going to, as far as the AFC and NFC East. So what are you looking at?
Well,
you've been studying.
I had to go, not much to study, just kind of brush up on things that happened in the off season for these teams.
Yep.
And, there's some things that I kind of forgot about or maybe didn't necessarily know. So it's good to read up on that. And it gave me a better idea of where I want to put these teams at. And, Just like every year, Sonny, a couple of them may surprise you. A couple of them we're probably going to be, exactly the same on.
Yeah.
And, it'll be interesting to see. I'm going to write them down too, just like you are.
Yeah, man.
Just kind of as a backup record.
By the way, we're doing the pick 'em on the Yahoo thing, and I got to send them to. So you got to get a Yahoo account.
I need to sign on, and I need to.
You need to get in. So does Fred Clark, my brother, who is in there, and everything else. So hopefully he is there. And so look who's joining us here. Mr. Greg Weber is joining us here. And
I sent him the message, him being the Eagle fan that he is, so he knows what we're doing today.
Yeah, we need to get him into the pick'em if he wants to do it. But again, if you miss 2 weeks of not getting him in, I'm just kicking you out because there's no way you can come back after missing 2 weeks of picks. Now, if you're just bad picking, and you lose them all, that's a different story. So fly, Eagles fly, yeah. So
yeah.
But we're starting off with the AFC, or do you want to start NFC since we have him here? I don't care.
You know what? I got to get him I have to give him the link to if he actually wants to get on with us.
Is he going to join in?
Well, that's what I'm not sure about. And then it's he's got his hands full, so if he needs some time,
I think
we'll just start with the AFC, Sonny.
All right, so
AFC.
All right, and I'll send Greg the link here in a couple seconds, and
sure,
in case he wants to hop in when we start talking the Eagles. Of course, we had Marcus on last week talking about them, and so that was Marcus Thomas. So that was kind of fun. So we got his perspective on what can be expected from the Eagles. So that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. We're going to do that. Let's start into the AFC and the AFC East. And the way we do this, guys, is I start from the bottom and we move to the top. And there's a lot of things to talk about as far as that is concerned. So we're going to start with the team I think is going to end up in last place within this division. And it's nothing any different. It's something that we've seen last year as they finished 4-13, that being the New York Jets. 4-13 last year. No great big surprise. Players that have come and gone, players who are out and things of that sort. Not very many guys. Greg Zuerlein is in. Uzo Matata, the tight end out of the Bengals, joined in. Tyler Conklin, Jordan Whitehead, and Solomon Thomas are in the defensive tackles. Guys that went ahead, Keelan Cole, he went. Jamison Crowder, gone. Ryan Griffin, tight end, he's gone. And Tyler Croft, another tight end. I think that's actually kind of a loss. I always kind of liked that guy. I thought that he had an opportunity to maybe get some time and do something. But when you look at what the Jets are and what they have been, this is a historically bad football team. They have a second-year coach that is going to have to step up if he expects to keep that job for very long. But when you're looking at the Jets and what they're doing, Cuervo, what are you seeing as far as this team is concerned, and where do you think that they might end up within this division?
So off-season wise, I think they did a lot of great things. They did. You mentioned bringing in Uzomah from Cincinnati, CJ Uzomah.
Yep.
They made some good signings, Laken Tomlinson. For the offensive line, bringing in Whitehead. I thought Whitehead was a great signing for them. And then obviously through the draft with Ahmad Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson and all the Jermaine John. I mean, that first round was killer.
Yes.
For the Jets. And so, so on paper, it looks great. Now it comes down to, can the coaching get the most out of these guys? And I just don't know what to make of Saleh yet as a coach. I mean, he's only been on the job, 2 years now?
This is his second year.
It's going to be his second year. So, it's tough to really judge how he's going to do with all these draft picks. Is he going to get the most out of these guys, or is it going to be something where the injury bug hits the Jets. I mean, we just don't know. But I just tell you, as far as what we saw from the Jets in the offseason, I mean, they did a lot of good things to improve that football team. And not to mention the backfield with Breece Hall, drafting Breece Hall out of Iowa State. I mean, Jets are where they need to be.
I think I agree with you what you're talking about as far as paper is concerned. Paper's great. I mean, when you look at the paper, they did what they really kind of needed to do. I go back to what you're talking about as far as the head coach and everything. Is this a situation where they will be able to find the chemistry out on the football field? Because like you said, when you talk paper looks wonderful. But once you start getting those guys together, whether or not that they can gel, mesh, and become the team that they quite possibly can be is always going to be the question. And especially with a young head coach, listen, he came from San Francisco. This guy knows, he's got it. He's got the goods with him. So the question here is whether or not he can put it together where people will look at him. And, it's really when you're talking about young players and you're talking about a cast of characters, it's really about the players looking at the coach and having one thing in reality. I don't know if it's going to be there. Is it going to be there for this football team? I mean, I don't know what we're going to get from Zach Wilson. And of course, this whole team right now is really kind of looking to Zach Wilson to become that guy that they expected him to be when he was drafted, with their first round draft pick, and bringing him in and saying, this is the guy that we're going to put our future on. The shoulders are there. But right now, when you are reading and you're taking a look at the Jets, finding out what's going on with them, Joe Flacco is the one is actually leading in what's going on in training camp, because we're not seeing what you want to see. If you're a Zach Wilson fan and expecting to lead this team, when you got Joe Flacco, the veteran, just doing what he does best, which is play the quarterback position.
Yeah, as a backup, though. I mean.
Yeah.
So
I'm wondering if that will be a situation game day, game number one. Will there be still talk about Flacco? Should he be the one that starts this team? And I'm right with you. I'm shaking my head. In reality, I don't think so, Tim. It's just something that you got that money, you got what your expectations of your franchise is going to be for the next few years. You got to start them. But how long will that last? How long will it be before, fans or just other coaches are saying, why are we not playing Joe Flacco right now?
I think that's only going to happen, Sonny, if, let's say, Zach Wilson, the first 2 to 3 games, they haven't won a game yet. He's thrown 1 touchdown and 7 interceptions or something like that. Then Jets fans are going to be like, what do we do here? Do we put the old man in?
Yep.
What are we doing?
Well, listen to this, Cuervo. Talk about
bringing Tim Tebow. Like, what's the plan?
Well, the schedule will keep that talk going as they start with the Baltimore Ravens. Then they get the Cleveland Browns and the Bengals, Steelers and Dolphins, Packers, Broncos, and Patriots and Bills before the bye.
First half.
That, you look at it, that is being bitch slapped in your face to bring in some quality teams. Not necessarily the high echelon, but teams that might be taking the step and might be getting better this year. And then there are some good ones that are in there. Question marks as far as the Pittsburgh Steelers are concerned. So there's some games in there, if you're expecting to be better, that they should win. And when you look at it, you're going to ask the question, well, are they really going to be able to be capable of winning some of those games right before the bye?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a rough. I think out of those teams that you named off, those games, I think the Jets might have a chance at 1.
And is that the Browns?
Yeah, it's the Browns.
Yeah,
because no Watson. I think you mentioned I think it's week 2 that they play the Browns.
Yes,
with no Watson.
Yeah, no Watson either way, probably. So that might be the only one, and Lord knows if they can step up as far as that is concerned. And that is actually, that game's on the road, by the way, so they're traveling to Cleveland, playing the Dog Pound.
Yeah, and again, even that game, Cleveland, who they got? What? I know they got Brissett, but I think they just signed.
Oh, you missed it, Cuervo. Yeah, they just had a signing right here. Bam, bam, bam.
Oh, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, I think the Jets might actually win that game. That make it choke on your
while I'm
coffee?
drinking my coffee. That wasn't very nice. But look at Josh Rosen, though. You think about Josh Rosen. This is a guy that started out with the Cardinals, got drafted by the Cardinals, and really didn't get much. Then he bounced around the NFL. And before you came up on, some of the rumors that are out there, and you're not even going to believe it, is Colin Kaepernick is one of the guys that they're talking about on trying to bring in. And that I mean, God,
Half the league is
can we
talked
just
about
stop
bringing
with
in
that
Colin
talk? He hasn't
Kaepernick.
played for 5 freaking years. I mean, can we just be done with this idea of Colin Kaepernick coming back and playing in the NFL? Or are we under some kind of pressure to have to hope he comes back every year? I'm sick of it.
No, I think half the league has talked about bringing him. It talked about bringing him back. Yeah, they just need to stop it.
Yeah,
They
they just need to stop it. This is nonsense. It's just like, come on.
Like I don't know if teams say that to kind of, be looked at in a more positive manner. Like,
Yeah.
we're
thinking about him.
Yeah, they're fighting for Kaepernick to get another chance. No, that's definitely not happening.
Not happening. I don't see it happening, but hey, what do I know? I just work here, But but as far as the AFC West is concerned, and good to see Anthony Price checking in with us. By the way, I think
The
he's
Browns have a problem with Hunt. No, they don't, because they already said they're not doing it.
They said
So
straight
I don't
out,
think there is no
and that
problem.
was the Kareem Hunt situation, right? That they've been making some noise about. Yeah, right.
But
here.
I think I understand Anthony's question because of the fact that the Browns said no. What's Kareem Hunt's attitude going to be now?
Interesting.
Forward?
Yes, and that's a good point, because where's his head going to be back in the mix, going into the season? Will it still be, thinking really good? Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, best 1-2 punch, best running game in the NFL, but you got Jacoby Brissett, so maybe you got a 1-2-3 punch. I don't know. The Browns are going to, but totally different division. But we'll talk about that. Of course, that's going to be a topic of discussion when we go there. But so when you're looking at the Jets, Cuervo, okay, Zach Wilson, will he be the guy? He's probably going to be the guy. Can he step up and be the guy? And that's going to be and really, when you look at the Jets, that's all you're really doing is you're trying to hang your hat up on the guy that you chose to be your franchise and whether or not he can do it done in year 3. And frankly, when you look at that schedule, I didn't even go through the rest of the schedule, which is just as brutal as the beginning. You got to ask yourself, how are they going to win, more than 4 games again this season? So
Right.
Where do you have the Jets within this division?
Sonny, so here's my first kind of like surprise of the day. I actually like the
shocker coming this way,
Yeah, I think it's a little like not a shock, but maybe like a little buzz.
Okay. All right. So
But I have the Jets actually finishing 3rd in the division.
what?
I said I got the Jets finishing 3rd in the division.
What?
Bryce, 3rd. 3. Number 3. Okay.
Wow. Number 3. Yeah, and that is a shock to me, because I'm sure we're just flipping 3 and 4s, knowing you and knowing how it's going. But that's interesting. So are you saying you're seeing a step up from Zach Wilson in his production, or is there something else that you're looking at that says, hey, the Jets are slowly improving, and maybe not next year, but the year before that, maybe they can contend for the division?
I think, with the moves that the Jets made in the offseason, Sonny, obviously they improved their roster, and that's always the goal in the offseason, improve your roster and whatnot. I'm a believer in Salah. I think he's a guy that, I'm not saying give him the pom-poms. He's a cheerleader, but I see him as a disciplinarian type coach that I think will get the most out of his guys. I mean, year 1 is always the hardest, right?
Always.
Because you're still you're still learning certain things about the players, about the organization, about how they operate. Going into year 2 now, it's kind of like now you kind of know, and I see improvements this year. It's not going to be anything drastic, but I do think that the Jets are going to compete in some games that they may not expect to compete in.
4-13
I think they
last
will
year,
be. I think they will win that Browns game, and I do think that they may even give the Baltimore Ravens opening day a run for their money.
Because you never know what you're going to get in week 1. That's why I hate it. I love to hate the NFL week number 1 because there's always going to be that one team that really should not have played that well and beat that team, and you'll see that. And sometimes there are many of them, but thinking the Jets at number 3, it just seems like,
Do I feel lucky?
And so it seems like you're running with a little luck, with the hope, a little skill, with the hope of maybe a NFL quarterback or NFL head coach actually brings them and leads them. So, and that's what needs to happen if the Jets are going to finish in that third spot that you think they may be in.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I see improvements, but to my fellow bettors out there, steer clear of week 1. I mean, there may be one game you could probably throw a little bit of cash on.
But stay away.
Steer clear, man. Because hell, for all we know, the Bears could win their first game of the year, in week 1 against the 49ers. Like,
you never know.
Who knows? Never know. But
the Bears win week 1. So I don't know. We'll check into that. Yeah. So Joe's hanging around. Something tells me Joe's going to be around today. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Jets 3rd. I got them 4th within this division. So that means we're going to move to the team I think that's going to finish in third place. Obviously you got this team in probably last. That is the team that has led the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are a football team that, to me, is really not a team that's steady. This is a team that finished 9-8 last year, and I don't know. But key players involved, obviously Tyreek Hill was the big one. Tyron Armstead, offensive line tackle, that's there. Backup in Teddy Bruschi and Sonny Mitchell, the running back. All headed to Miami. Guys that are gone, Will Fuller, he didn't last very long. I remember that was supposed to be really big. Devontae Parker gone, and then, of course, Jacoby Brissett makes his way up into Cleveland. So, and then the draft class channel, Tinsdale, linebacker, Erica Zukma, wide receiver, Cameron Good, linebacker, and then Skylar Thomas. That's a backup quarterback, back this up, as far as that is concerned. So, I don't know if anything will come from that. So back up. But, when I looked at Miami, obviously, it's all about the key addition. And notice how I didn't say key additions with an S. One key addition. And, of course, that's the wide receiver. And he's now when you look at what Tyreek Hill is doing, he's saying all the right things to pump up his quarterback, but he's saying a lot of things to piss off or try to get up underneath the skin of his former team where he came from, with facts that are not actually factual. But that's what people do when they get their feelings hurt, and they ended up, end up talking to people and saying some things that really makes them look like a little. That little guy right there. So I don't know. Kareem Hunt, what his situation is. Does he make this team big? Obviously, well, unless I'm thinking definitely on what team you might be finishing in last place. But, I don't think Tyreek Hill is enough to get them that push that they need, because in reality, they didn't do anything defensively to help them so they could stay in the games to make Tyreek Hill a guy that they can depend on and try to win a football game. Because when I look at it, with the lack of defense that they tried to do in the offense, and I mean good solid moves, they're going to be 14 points behind the games, and you can't win that coming back from 14. They have a chance of winning, trying to come back and win with 7, but 14 is just a little bit too much. 10 is mediocre. It's hard to do. So I don't know how the Miami Dolphins are going to take that step forward when they didn't improve on the defensive side of the ball to keep them in games.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see much defensive improvement either in the Dolphins, unless I missed something, which I don't know that I did, but yeah, a lot of their improvements was offensively, and I think that just may say that they like where they're at defensively, as far as who they have and whatnot. But yeah, I don't know of any major defensive additions that they made. I mean, they've got some, they got Howard, and they've got guys that can are playmakers on that defense. No big splashes though, like they did offensively. So my thing, the reason I've got the Dolphins last, Sonny, because the only thing I think that the Dolphins are going to really be good at is, doing these little hype videos that they've been doing during training camps.
God, I hate those.
They're gonna lead the league in hype videos, and that's about as much as they're gonna do. So I can't sell myself on Tua being accurate enough, being mobile enough to make plays happen with those receivers. I mean, those guys, they deserve better. I mean, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle deserve better.
Think about this, Cuervo. The game for Tua, okay, and he even admitted this, okay, he couldn't keep up with it. It was so fast. Then you had Kareem Hunt to the deal, who's even faster. So what do you got to do? You got to keep track of him. You got to lead him the right way, and you can't lead him too much to where you'll throw the interceptions. And that's where my worry is for the Dolphins. Tua is getting better, and he showed that he's getting better. But when you're a foot off, that's a mile in the NFL. Because if you correct it and go the other way, that's a pick six all the way back. So there's more about your quarterback position, more so being more accurate, is whether or not they can get on the same page at the right speed, and whether or not, and listen, we all know what training camp is real early. No one's going balls to the wall right now. No one's going full speed. So yeah, maybe he's hitting them right now. But when he actually starts running, okay, Cuervo, listen, that guy's the fastest guy in the NFL. So, take away from that, you got to make sure you're accurate with the ball and reading defenses on how they're going to defend against a Kareem Hunt. So watch for a lot of layers in that defense and guys just stepping in front of passes and interception. I think Tua takes a step back. I think Tua throws more interceptions because of the situation. Because guess what? When you got a Kareem Hunt, or when you have a Tyreek Hill, you're going to force the ball to him. And believe me, as a second and third year quarterback, when they start forcing the ball, that's where mistakes happen. And that's my worry for the Miami Dolphins. Now, defensively, I think they're okay, but they still needed to improve, and they didn't. And there's certain places that they needed to. So they're going to go into this season basically with the same defense, which wasn't bad. But now you got a totally different offense, total different guys out on the football field. How much will the defense have to make up for their mistakes?
Yeah, exactly. And and the other thing too is first-year head coaches don't always do very well. Now, and what I mean by first year, and I'm not talking about like your boy Doug Peterson down in Jacksonville. He's been a head coach.
Yeah, he's
been a head coach. He knows the ropes.
Yep.
McDaniel, on the other hand, new head coach for the Dolphins. It's first time, first gig as a head coach. I think it's going to be a learning. It's going to be a learning lesson for him. But look, 2 or 3 years from now, if they still got the same team and everything is still in place, we could be talking about a much different looking Dolphins team fighting for a playoff spot.
Keeping it real.
Yeah.
So, and think about this also, news coming out, just this past week, Miami Dolphins losing the first round draft pick and some later on. Why? Because they were trying to steal Sean Payton and Tom Brady, tampering, so you know what the ownership wants. Right? Cuervo, I mean, when you get nailed for what you just did, if you're the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, you can't feel real confident about your job security anyway. So this is a time where you got to have to go in there and win some football games. Whether or not that they can, rally behind him and get all on the same page, that's going to be the biggest question. But I think that right there is so much of a distraction. I wonder how much that's going to affect that team week in and week out, and knowing what the future holds for them. When you lose a first round draft pick, listen, by the way, I think it was still too much of a light punishment in reality for Miami. I think they should have lost 2 first rounders, because the tampering is a very serious thing, especially thinking about Tom Brady, who is an active quarterback, even though he was still under contract, even though he retired. So he wasn't allowed to do what he was doing, going to the yacht of the Miami Dolphin owner and bringing in Sean Payton and talk about how they're going to dominate the NFL for the next 3 or 4 years. So when you see all that stuff that's going on, and where's the head coach's mentality at this time? So I can maybe see, now that you say that, how that whole thing moves Miami maybe into last place within this division. So, but I'm still going to keep them in third, basically based upon the talent, that they picked up here in the offense, and maybe that can work for them and get them going. So, but that, I feel bad for the head coach of the Miami Dolphins right now, knowing what that team did to try to improve, and they pretty much brought you in just to get you until then, the next phase, which is Sean Payton, Tom Brady. And, whether or not that'll happen, now with that bust going down, I don't see that happening. So now Sean Payton is now being in the talks. If, Mike McCarthy can't get things done down here in Dallas, they'll bring him in mid-season. I told you about that 3 or 4 years ago. Sean Payton lives literally right down the street. He's got a home right down the street. So, pick for him to come right into, to the Dallas Cowboys is not a big stretch for him to come along.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, like you said, he lives there in the area already. Well, he owns a property in the area.
Yep. Owns property.
So
owns property means there's a house on it, and it's just sitting to wait to take the sheets off the couch and dust things off and get ready to go.
Right.
So interestingly enough, so I got Jets in last place, and I got Miami in third. Cuervo has it flipped as far as the teams are concerned in the AFC East. That brings me to the team that I think is going to finish second in this division. And really, it doesn't have a lot to do with, players. It has to do with their head coach. Obviously, you got the GOAT right there. As far as Bill Belichick is concerned, you had a football team that finished 10-7 with a rookie quarterback, Cuervo. And that right there tells me a lot about the team and how they're coached and what's going on. Now, interestingly enough, the defensive coordinator who used to be the head coach of the Detroit Lions before they popped him and kicked him on his way, went to the defense. Now he is rumored to be the guy that's going to be running the offense. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Mike, what's his last name? Starts with a P? Patricia is going to be running the offense. So, and that's recently what I just read. I don't know, it came from a real website, not one of these crazy ones that have stupid, goofy headlines. So that means that's a big question mark going into this season with Mike Patricia basically as the offensive coordinator. And I don't know if I like the idea of that situation, seeing how Patricia did have that defense playing really well last year. So you're actually going to take him out of that position, move him into the offensive side. Something about that doesn't make sense, but I'm not Bill Belichick. I'm not the GOAT. I'm not the guy that makes these decisions. And usually when he makes these kind of decisions, Cuervo, they work out pretty well for him. So, thinking about that, I see what's going on with football team. Okay. New England is who they are. 10-7 last year. There's a football team that, did what they did. Mac Jones really exceeding the expectations. A lot of people question his accuracy downfield, but guess what? Bill Belichick doesn't put him in a position where he's going to make mistakes or make bad decisions. So until he sees and then he can improve on that, you're not going to see that. But when they finished 10-7, made the playoffs, Cuervo, you have to look at that and say, that's pretty impressive, regardless of how you take a look at how that team is. That is a double-digit win with a rookie quarterback. Not too many teams can do that. So, Cuervo, looking at the New England Patriots, seeing what you're seeing in the third-year running back, Damian Harris, that's coming in, another Alabama product, 929 yards, 15 touchdowns. They grab him up. Some other moves for this football team. Ty Montgomery, another running back. Jordan Humphrey, wide receiver. Devontae Parker, I like the Devontae Parker pickup. I really do. Mac Wilson on the defensive side of the ball. Malcolm Butler makes his way over back to the Patriots. And then Jabari Peppers, guys that left. Keenan Harry, a wide receiver. Shaq Mason, offensive guard. That might be a loss. Who knows? And then they also lose another offensive lineman in Ted Karras. Then Chase Windrop, defensive tackle. Jamie Collins, the linebacker, along with Dante Hightower. Kyle Van Noy is gone, and J.C. Jackson. So some critical losses on this football team. I don't think they made up for the losses in reality. So this is going to be a real interesting Patriot team.
Yeah, it is. It is. And they made a lot of questionable moves via trade, draft. Didn't seem like they did much free agent wise, which doesn't surprise me. They don't normally do that. But yeah, as far as like trades and drafting, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know what the Patriots were thinking, Sonny. But you know what?
Belichick's the GOAT, man. It's hard to question the guy, right? I mean,
right. And I think that's why we're giving the benefit of the doubt to the Patriots, and we both have them second in this division because it is Bill Belichick, and every time you just like the Steelers, every time you think they're down and out, here they come.
They just make their way back into it somehow,
and it just makes it that much more impressive because now, no Tom Brady, no Gronk, none of those guys are there anymore. I would say probably the most questionable move that I saw was that trade for Shaq, the Shaq Mason trade, trading him to Tampa, getting a 5th rounder in return. I think they could have definitely gotten something better, but that was the move that they made. So
yeah, Bill Belichick don't sweat that though. They say, okay, well, we want a 4th rounder, maybe a 3rd, but we'll just take it. And that's probably more about money on what he's going to end up making later.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, but you mentioned a lot of those big losses. J.C. Jackson and who else is gone now? I wouldn't say Harry's a big loss, but Mason is definitely a big loss.
Mm-hmm.
And Jackson's a big loss. I don't know. You said Hightower's gone too.
Hightower went away. Yep, he moved. He moved along. Hightower. Yep, he's gone. So Hightower went away. Kyle Van Noy, linebacker. I think that's a pretty good loss for them.
That is a big loss because he makes
a lot of plays.
Yeah, he makes a lot of plays. It's not even about stats. It's about who he is on that team. As far as like, he's more known to be like a leader type guy,
right?
He was one of the leaders of
makes plays when they have to be made,
right? Yeah. So and now that they don't have that anymore. So, but I think second, it's Belichick. And Mac Jones, I mean, look what we saw from Mac Jones his rookie year.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think this is a benefit of the doubt, in my opinion, a benefit of the doubt pick to have them second this division.
Oh, maybe not necessarily benefit, but just really in reality, there's a phrase for it, where it's just accepted that you're expected. Because really, obviously, the class of the division right now is the Buffalo Bills. So normally you're talking the Patriots in first place, and now you got them in second. Now think about this, Cuervo. Their schedule. Listen to this lineup before the bye. They got the Dolphins, Steelers, Ravens, Packers, Lions. Browns, Bears, Jets, and Colts. There's some games in there that are winnable. If that team is good. No offense against you. They should beat the Bears. They should beat the Jets. They should beat the Browns. They should beat the Lions. The teams that they're going to have a problem with in division with the Dolphins, the Steelers, they're going to have a run with. And then, so I see at least 5 games within before they get to the bye that they have an opportunity. In reality, they don't go into the bye until week 9. So, the team could be 5-4, or for that matter, 6-3, depending on how they do against those main team. And if they take the step forward that you'll expect a Bill Belichick team to actually do instead of taking a step backward.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I think they could beat the Patriots. I think they'll wind up beating Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, man. Yeah, I know, and I know we're not talking, north yet. I'm just,
rookie QB, baby, rookie QB.
Well, that's even if it is the rookie.
If it's going to be him. No, actually, the guy that's running out, the former Bear quarterback, who's that guy?
Mitch Trubisky.
Mitchell Trubisky,
This is total BS.
That's what you're thinking if you're the quarterback and they just got drafted. I can't beat out freaking Mitchell Trubisky. Are you kidding me? But right now, that's just the way it sounds like. But also seeing a couple of reports that Mitchell Trubisky is, maybe not doing as well as other people think that he is. So it just all depends on who you're going to believe.
Interesting.
You got some that are saying, hey, Mitch is winning the thing. And then you got some, I don't know if they're rooting for the rookie to take that spot or wanting them. So they're trying to downgrade what Mitchell Trubisky is actually doing. You get that with journalism. It's really kind of crazy when you think about it, but it does happen. So it just all depends on which one's actually accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see when the time comes, but
yeah. So
I think New England can beat them.
Hey, man, you think about this. This is a team really. They upgraded the wide receivers, Devontae Parker and Humphreys. You can say whatever you want about them. These are the guys that Mac Jones needs to be able to depend upon, and I think they get that with these guys. So that's going to be the big question. Then the Patriots, they strengthened the defense. Mac Wilson is huge. The return of Malcolm Butler, that's another thing. That's a leadership thing there, Cuervo. So you got that. I mean, making quite possibly the biggest play in Patriot history, and wins the Super Bowl.
One of them.
Keeps Brady having an extra ring instead of not having one. So, a lot of things going on. I don't think, when we go back to the Dolphins, I don't think Tyreek Hill is enough of an offensive push to help the Miami Dolphins to be where they are, and the Jets are who they are. So thinking about where the majority of talent is coming from on what side of the ball for which different type of the team, New England just continues to do what they always have done, which is win games they really have no business winning, based upon the personnel at the quarterback position now. So, interestingly enough, I think, and they're going to be vying for a playoff spot. Whether they get it, that's going to be the big question, whether or not they can take that step up from a 10-7 football team or an 11-6 football team to actually make it in the playoffs. So.
Yeah, I mean, and those two games could be the difference.
I think you're right.
It could be a couple games that make or break the Patriots this year.
And that's what you don't want in reality. You think about it, as far as the Patriots, make or break games instead of easing their way into the playoffs like this team has been traditionally doing. But that's the genius of Bill Belichick. They were lucky to make it last year. But you can say whatever you want. They made the freaking playoffs. However that happened is really irrelevant, and that streak just continues on, for Bill Belichick. So, and that's the reason why I got him in second, because of coaching. Because when you look at the coaching staff for the Jets, you're looking for the Miami Dolphins. Listen, hands down, he's the best coach in the division. But the more talent sitting up on the team that's sitting at number one, of course, which is the Buffalo Bills, which is where we're at right now, on top of this division, really the class of the division taking over. And who started that, Cuervo, by the way? Just a quick trivia question. Who started the run for the Buffalo Bills making the playoff at the quarterback position? not there anymore.
Well, yeah. Well, I know
Got hit. Probably should sue and make a lot of money because of the coaches.
Yeah. Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor's the one that started this whole thing out for and they said bye-bye to him after he took him for the first time said bye-bye to him. And then of course you got what you got at the quarterback position for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. Mr. Allen.
Man, this guy has totally taken over what you expect from a franchise quarterback. He is almost the prime definition. You looked up franchise quarterback, bam, his picture shows up there. And not only that, he did it at a young portion of his career, starting in his second year, and this guy is doing what he's doing now. We're talking about this guy, potential MVP within the league, obviously winning this division. Not only that, they're going to win the division by 3 or 4 games, which will be a switch from the Patriots running away with it. You're going to have the Bills run away with this division, as far as where they're concerned. And say whatever you want. You go back. It's hard to go back and say what would have, could have, should have happened. But we're talking about a Buffalo Bills team that could have been in the Super Bowl. So so these things here. So and they've been improving each and every year, which tells me this might be the year they get over the hump to make it to the playoffs. But still, they got to roll through that. But it's the head coach situation that's going on there. But it's not necessarily the head coach, because he has got the loss of the head coach or the offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll. I think is going to be, and I think that's going to be very well seen this year. As far as that, you can't take away anything from Allen. Okay, that guy's a stud. That guy's going to make plays, but play calling and everything like that's going to be totally different. It's going to be something that we're not used to seeing.
Yeah, I think that Daboll leaving to become the Giants head coach concerns me too about Buffalo.
Yep.
I just don't know how explosive the offense is going to be, like what we're used to seeing. But I don't think it is going to jeopardize them winning the division, because I just think they're so far ahead now of the other teams in the AFC East that the only question is by how many games are the Bills going to win this division?
Right.
Is it going to be by 1 or is it going to be by 4? Like that's the only thing we don't know yet. So.
And the new offense coordinator, Ken Dorsey, he's been working with Allen for the last 3 seasons. So really, even though you're going to see a loss at the offensive coordinator position, I think Dorsey might be able to step in since he was really exclusively working with Allen. So that's going to be something that's going to be there, because
so they promoted in-house. That's good.
Exactly.
That's good.
Promoted with in-house with things that are familiar, because you think about it, if Allen gets the ball first in that overtime game against Kansas City, in the divisional rounds, the Buffalo Bills could have been to the Super Bowl. So you think about all those things when you start stirring the pot, and guess what? When you get consistency on whatever you're cooking in the pot, it comes out better. That's what right now, if you look at what Buffalo's doing, I like what they're doing. And that's the reason why. Staying consistent, staying with what they know, and the tradition of winning came from that coaching staff for the last 4 years. So might as well keep it as much as you can, instead of making a big splash and trying to bring in an offensive coordinator that really doesn't understand what they're trying to do as a team.
Yeah. And then that was really smart on Buffalo's part.
Oh God, I think that's huge.
Yeah.
What do you think? Listen to the schedule, because the schedule, any other team, it's brutal, Cuervo. Okay, got the Rams, Titans, Dolphins, Ravens, Steelers, Kansas City before the bye.
Yeah, their opening day. Their opening night, Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday night on the 8th, September 8th. And so that already tells you what the NFL wants to see, right, Cuervo? Rams, okay, NFC, AFC, Bills. They would love to see an AFC championship game rematch of week number 1 from September.
Well, that would be the Super Bowl.
To the Super Bowl. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the creative genius that comes out of the scheduling is really interesting. But Tennessee, this is a team that's probably going to be better. Maybe, I don't know. They're going to have a running back all year, hopefully, if he don't get hurt. Miami is still within the division, so they're going to have to play them. The Ravens, that all depends on what's going on at the quarterback position, if they're going to move. Same thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the Kansas City Chiefs, listen, the AFC Championship game all over again before the bye. Frankly, I would have rather seen that game after the bye, because it would have had a Super Bowl feeling, because they both had time off. Everybody's healthy and they go into it instead of going into it with the health that they got. So you don't get the week's rest. But Green Bay after that, Jets, they should beat Minnesota. Yeah, that just depends on what they're going to do. Cleveland. So, this schedule lines up for them because they got the Bears as well. No offense against you. But, this is a schedule that is a complete good schedule. But I don't see him going 13-3 in reality. I see him winning the division, but I see him winning the division with an 11-6 record. And because even though the schedule kind of looks like, hey, that's pretty good for them, that's still a lot of battles they're going to go, and they have got to win the injury war, because if they get injured at a vital position, it can change the whole tune of what's going to happen with them going into the season. Yeah.
It sometimes all it takes is that one injury, whether
one time,
lineman or whatever.
Injuries kick your ass. It's just the way those kind of things happen, and it drives me absolutely batty when you're sitting there, because you want to see something. You want to see, quality football. And then if an injury comes at a vital position, you're like, damn, what could this team have been if that injury didn't happen? And that's what all teams in the NFL have to try to prevent. We're already seeing injuries out through the NFL, no great big ones. I mean, a loss for your wife's Broncos, the wide receiver,
Patrick.
Yeah, that was a big loss for them. But that just means Sutton's going to have to step up. By the way, you guys, and you have you bought a Bronco jersey yet?
For her, yes.
No, for you.
No.
You're not going to buy one, or are you? If you do, buy a Sutton one. This guy, I'm telling you right now, with Russell Wilson at the quarterback position, now Sutton really, not did he need to step up? Now he really has to step up. Sutton is going to be a guy. It's a couch potato, prediction. Sutton's going to be a top 5 wide receiver in this league this year, and it's because of what they got at the quarterback position and what he can do. This guy's big, tall, strong, and all he has to do is, and you go back, was it last year or a year before when he got hurt, which took him out of any ideas of what they were going to do. So that goes back to injuries. So that's the AFC East in a shot. We both have Buffalo and New England in second, or first and second. Third and fourth, we're mixing. I got Miami and the Jets. You got Jets and Miami, and that is the AFC
yes,
East.
sir.
So now ready for a break. We need to take a break because guess what? I got no coffee, so I need some coffee. So we're going to take so you need to get a warm up. Everybody needs to get a warm up. Hit the head, everybody, and we're going to take a quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. When we come back, it is the NFC East. We'll be right back.
Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. We are locally owned and with over 20 years of experience, so roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage are no problems at all. Give us a call at 214-200-5588. That's 214-200-5588. Wesson General Contractors.
The prospect of retirement can be exciting and scary at the same time. At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. What is it? How does it work? It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. Because these decisions are so important, my firm has assembled an informational packet on Social Security. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com. At the Jerry Bullet Training Center, we are a motivated team of coaches with the mindset of helping you achieve and reach your highest goals. Having developed and trained over 100 Division I athletes as well as Division II athletes, even professional athletes, the Bullet team definitely has the knowledge and mindset to take you to the next level. Check out our new 22,000 square foot facility and 3,000 square foot weight room, along with 4,500 square feet of outdoor turf and covered training area, along with football and soccer field. Contact Melvin Bullitt at 214-326-7853 or visit their facility just outside of Waterview at 8900 Princeton Road in Rowlett.
Being taken for a ride? Check out Casso Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance and save a ton. Casso Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CassoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
And we are back here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio. As we're waiting for Cuervo, he's getting that coffee warmed up as I did and hitting the head and getting all set. We are set here to go into the NFC East as far as that is concerned until Cuervo gets back. Here, some other news that is going on. Oh, not even news. I want to just hop to college because there's a lot of things going on in college. How about Notre Dame right now? Notre Dame is seeking a $75 million annually in cash for their new media rights on the deal for them to remain independent. So what that means is that they were going to remain independent if they can get $75 million. Or they're maybe going to join one of the conferences and make that conference, wherever they're going to be at, just that much interesting. I mean, I don't know what they call it anymore. The Big Ten, right in the area, Michigan, all those teams, Indiana, Illinois, all those, they're right there in the middle of that. So I don't know if they end up joining that conference or how that whole thing works, but this is a football team that wants to remain independent, and they want to remain independent because they want the cash. Unlike, all these high school players, going out and get their own money. That's still going to be part of what's going to be going on. But I will tell you this, the whole thing it's all a change. What we're seeing in college football, high school football, the ramifications of high school football for them to go to the next level, how much money that even, not even graduates are going to end up getting millions and millions of dollars from the NAL situation, joining the football team that they're going to join on the college level. So big time stuff that's going on as far as that, lots of changes and all this stuff, is really something that shouldn't surprise everybody as far as things changing, because this is part of the norm, okay? The norm of what college football and high school football are totally different. They're not the same as watching a high school football game in your backyard, just running down to the local high school and watching games. No, they're building $1 million facilities in between $60 and $80 million facilities for high school football. Now, granted, they're shared, amongst usually 2 or 3 teams, but the millions of dollars that are being spent for high school football. Look at the Allen Eagles. And if anybody's listening to us, across the country that knows about high school football across the country, know who the Allen Eagles are. This is a pretty Prosper Eagles, a team that the Saxon Mustangs are going to be taking. These are national, teams that get recognition. And of course, the reason why they're building $65 million, stadiums for that. So, high school football, definitely a change. And granted, we're lucky to be a part of that on the high school level, calling the games and everything. So now, back in the day, no one really cared about high school football, whether or not that they had everything they needed to play football or whatever. Now you got booster clubs and everybody else providing everything that they need to have a class organization, a class as far as that is concerned. That is huge. So look out for high school football and all the changes that are going to be coming there, because there'll be more changes as we go on. This is now business as usual, okay? Spending a lot of money. And instead of going to a high school football game for $5, you're going to pay close to 20. So there's a lot of things that are changing within that part of it. And then the high school player to the college level, that's going to be changing a lot as well. So there's lots of money that is being thrown around. But before you can do it, there's some more news out in the NFL until Cuervo gets back. I'll cover some of it. Deebo Samuel, he goes ahead and gets his contract that he wants, but there's an additional $1.9 million in incentives if he can get. How about this? 300 plus yards in a 380 rushing yards gets him $650,000 a year. So, I don't see how that's not a problem for him. And 3 rushing touchdowns earns him another $150,000. Which I don't see a big problem for. So the incentive the money is low because the bar is low in reality. I would think that they would throw a $5 million incentive and add, 600 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. So, and that in turn would make the San Francisco 49ers a better football team, regardless of what that whole situation is or what you think of where they're at. But that's Deebo Samuel's situation that's going on. By the way, some other things that we were looking at, and we're fine. I shot this over to Cuervo because right there on top, as far as Hall of Fame players by team, the Chicago Bears have 3 more than the Green Bay Packers. Chicago's got 30, Green Bay has 27, and the Steelers have 26. So, all those within 4 games, the top 3 are those traditional teams. Now, 2 are really only winning Super Bowls, Green Bay and Chicago both have 1, or 2, I mean. So, at least within the Super Bowl era is concerned. Now, the championships that went back before the Super Bowl came in, I don't know those numbers, but look at where the Steelers are. The traditional teams up there have guys on there. Look at the Dallas Cowboys at 21, the Giants at 20, and 19 for the Raiders. So, Hall of Fame players by team. The Jacksonville Jaguars just got theirs, and Tony Baselli. Congratulations to him, man. I can't wait. We're working hard to get the Hall of Famer on our show. By the way, if you watch the Hall of Fame game and you watch the interview with Tony Baselli, this guy, he just kind of solidifies what a football player is in reality. It's not always all about the game. It's about those that support you, those that you love, the ones that get you to where you got to. And some of the stories were just fantastic, almost brought me to tears. Maybe that's because I'm a Jaguar fan and I am a Tony Baselli fan, always have been and always will. So that was huge to see the first one get in there. Only 1 Cincinnati Bengal in the Hall of Fame, 3 from the Ravens in their short tenure. So that's interesting. Those numbers should come up. 4 Seattle Seahawks. What surprised me, though, is 17 from the Detroit Lions. So that's a lot of Hall of Fame players for a team that is just not that good. San Francisco also had me, but 16, that's a respectful number. Obviously the 2 quarterbacks and obviously the 2 wide receivers, and never mind all the other ones that brought them to that place. So interestingly enough, lots of good stuff going on in the NFL as we get set now, as we're going to talk about the NFC East here in a couple minutes. But what we're going to do, just take a really quick break because and for some reason, my mouth went dry, so I need to get something to drink. So I need to get coffee. And since Cuervo is not here, I can't do it. So what we'll do, watch this really quick. We'll be right back here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Not very long. That's right. It's Saxony Mustangs football here on the Couch Potato Sports Show as we bring you the live play-by-play and video commentary this year of the Saxony Mustangs. Exciting. Getting ready for our preseason show. It looks like that's going to be put up on Tuesday or Wednesday. So look forward to that as we move and get set for what's going to be happening as far as that is concerned. We'll bring back in here Cuervo here on a Sunday morning. Of course, that's just what we do and we do best is we cover everything. We are now moving into the NFC East, a division that's usually the flaming trash barrel of the NFL. Is just something that this team. The teams within this division just cannot seem to get it going. I mean, there's just something about it. They start off really well, and then they go to the dumpster fire, and they never can recover. Games that are, the record's 9-7, 9-6, or 9-8, 10. Never really 11 or 12 or 13, wins seasons. Usually garbage until the last 3 weeks of the season. Cuervo, this is a crazy division of football.
Yeah, especially the last couple of years, Sonny. I mean, it's been super tight race. I mean, we had, I think, was it last year or the year before? We had an 8-8 team get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
the division winner, which was at that time the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I think they had win 8. But, before that, like 2015, 16, 17, I think Dallas had won 10, 11, 12 games. But
yeah.
Since then, I mean, it's been, 10 wins get you the division, or even 9.
Will
win you the division. So,
and it goes to week 16,
tight.
17, or now 18 to determine who that winner is going to be, and that's always the sad part of that whole thing.
Well, you know what? You could look at it either way, though. You can look at it as this whole division's really mediocre, or they're really competitive. And they're always beating each other. And so, and here comes Joe. I already know.
I got caught and I couldn't hit the button. But I was in my volume side instead of the guy. I went scrolled the front trying to find it.
I say that though because they're normally they beat each other, and they're really good at keeping each other.
Well.
Right. They're really good at keeping each other from really giving themselves a gap or a lead on each other. So, whenever Dallas has a chance to be 2 games up on the Eagles will beat them or vice versa.
And no one can finish it out. And that's the reason why it comes on the last 2 weeks of the season.
Right.
You sit there and you watch those games and you know what you're thinking.
I know I'm smarter than that some.
Yeah.
And you think, man, but what are they doing? And interestingly enough, there's lots of controversy regarding the quarterbacks within this division, which is really kind of interesting. And then never mind the defenses that are coming, normally traditional good defenses. Are they going to be that good this year? Or are they going to be the same? Will a team take a step back? That's what we're going to look at here in the NFC East. And, of course, we're going to start it off with the team that I think is going to finish at the bottom. And really, it's a team that is really defined, by moments, whether it is Super Bowl. I mean, because this team that I've got in last place, is a Super Bowl football team. And say whatever you want, they're always known for this play right here, Cuervo. This
from the 12, Jones.
I mean, all you got to do is just watch this play. It's forever etched in history. It'll never go away. It'll stay right there at the 13-yard line. And it's something that the team will never be able to get over. And I don't know if this is one play that will define the Daniel Jones, okay? That's just what happens usually when it comes there, okay? All right, so, and we're already putting it as Washington will be last. At least that's coming from one Greg Weber. Which, Greg, let us know if you want a link, and I'll send you over the link, and we can get you set up and be brought in. But when I look at the New York Giants, I think of that play, And I think of whatever can go wrong will go wrong, whether it's a finger off of Pierre Paul, which is not on the team anymore. But that's the kind of things that runs there. Very good. I'll get that to you here in a minute, Greg. But looking at this football team as far as where they will go, as far as the Giants are concerned. Now, that being said, it's just what we talk about when you look at the Giants. It's the quarterback position that defines any football team in reality. Okay, so what does that mean? A 4-13 record last year, Cuervo, which is pretty pathetic. Now, if you want to call these key players lost, you can do so. Logan Ryan, the safety, Kyle Rudolph, the tight end, that might be one. He went down to, if I'm not mistaken, to the Buccaneers. And then Devontae Booker, the running back. Those are lost. So those are losses. Now, say whatever you want. Here are the additions. Ricky Seals-Jones, tight end. Tyrod Taylor, quarterback. You know where he's going to be. Glenowski, a guard. Feliciano, another offensive lineman. Matt Breida, running back also, and Justin Ellis. And then they pick up in the draft some players from the defensive side as well as the offensive side. Not really anything to write home to mama about. They had a lot of picks, by the way, within the draft. So the question will be for them in reality as they move forward, what are they all about? I got the Giants finishing last in this division, and there's a certain reason why, and that's the quarterback position. Talk a little bit of what you see in their quarterback position. We played the video each and every week, usually, just as a reminder of really how bad this football team is in reality within a dumpster fire division.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's going to be another, one of those situations where we switch on teams, but I what I like the most about what the Giants did is the draft picks. In that first round, getting Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon, getting Evan Neal. Those two guys I think are going to be immediate starters. They're going to be immediate impact players.
Well, they have to be.
And they will. And I think the Giants, for the first time in a while, I think Giant fans feel really good about what they did in the draft and through free agency, whatever. Because I think the Giants, it's one of those kind of trimming the fat, right? Off of what they had on their roster. Evan Ingram gone. He goes down to your neck of the woods, wearing that Jaguar gold and black. So, I think those were the type of moves that needed to be made.
Yes.
Prior front office were afraid to make them. And I think it's addition through subtraction for the Giants.
And
that's why I like them finishing third in the division. I think that as much as we make fun of Daniel Jones and we have to keep that tradition alive, Sonny, and play that every Sunday. We got to play it every Sunday. But
got to be reminded of the comedy of errors that happened last year, that obviously being one of them, right? You think about that and, injuries both on the offensive side of the ball as the defensive side of the ball. The play calling was disgusting last year if you watched it. And also, if you take a look at this defense, they took a step back from when they had really had a good defense, and they have not been able to really get back to that. So the Joe Judge's time in New York, that's all done. It wasn't a success. That obviously went away. Yeah. So now you got
a dumpster fire.
Exactly. And, think about and you can't get past the run of what you've seen. And it just defines what the Giants have been for the last 2 years. And say whatever you want about the Giants, okay? Finishing 4-13, they weren't even competitive, So the difference is from a football team from just back in reality, a couple of years back where they were in games and fighting for the games. We didn't see that last year, but if you think about it, they get better in the offseason within the draft. You've seen how many draft picks that they got. So whether or not those guys will step up, but really in reality, Cuervo, it's all about health at the vital position. And what do we got? We got Saquon Barkley as a guy that cannot stay healthy and is, you say whatever you want. He's got all of his money in his contracts, and you're going, God, we spent a lot of money for a guy that cannot stay out on the football field. And really, when you're not on the football field, you are not a part of a football team that can step up and say, we are going to move. With Saquon Barkley 100%, with, reality, if you see the quarterback moving up, that, getting better, and then you add a few, a little bit of weapons, for him to throw to, that's great. But the defense, yet again, took another step back, more so than step forward, at least in my opinion. I saw what they got. It wasn't anything great. But I saw a team that 2 years ago really had a good defense, and they needed Jones just to, maneuver the offense. And the defense would try to win them football games. That we're not getting there either. So in reality, I don't know what you can expect from this football team to be more than the 4-13 that they were. If you give them 2 more games, it's that up on top of it. So go ahead and take this, guys. I'm going to grab this really quick because I need to, okay? And I'll bring in Greg Weber, okay?
Yeah, sounds good. What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
Woo! Look at that. Look at that. Oh, that is
do
nice.
This. Had to pull it off for once. Had to see how long I could grow it before it irritates me.
Yeah, it's gonna feel weird for a while, man. Trust me.
Well, it already does feel weird.
Yeah, I know.
So I got to see that awesome video of you watching old Jones fall on his face against my Eagles. That was awesome.
It's tradition now, man. We're gonna play it every week when we talk about the Giants.
Every week?
So, every week.
All right. I mean, are you going to put any other ones on there like Mark Sanchez's butt fumble? I mean,
that could be something we can start. Like every team's got a little video or something like that. But
that's something.
It's a lot of uploading, but
make sure you put Dallas's Tony Romo's missed botched field goal. Try to
the
run
botched field goal. Yeah. The botched field goal. Sonny. Is he back? I think he's back. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Unmute myself. Hi, I'm back.
There you go.
All right, so I had to grab that. I'm kind of on call at work, so I got to listen in for that. Where were we?
Well, so I know that it may be a lot of uploading, Sonny. Greg and I were just talking about the idea of maybe having like a clip for some other teams too, like how we have with Daniel Jones.
Oh yeah.
For for the Jets, have the butt fumble. For Dallas, the Romo botch field goal.
Yes. All those. Yeah, but that takes time, man. Those
that's what I'm
not
saying.
Easy to make, by the way. And never mind, they cut us off every time. Oh, it's copyright. God, I'm so sick of the copyrights. It's disgusting. I'm lucky to get away with the ones that we got. So it's kind of what it is. But the Giants, last place, at least as far as I am concerned. I mean, as far as what we see, looking at the 4-13 season last year, I see maybe improvement, maybe 5, maybe 6, but that would all depend upon whether Saquon Barkley is going to return 100%. Then you got Kenny Galladay, and then Tony. As far as that concerned, they draft because of the offensive line is definitely a weakness. We've already seen it, how many times the guy gets sacked. So Daniel Jones needs to move a little bit further than what he has with the new additions. Whether or not they can step in and be a part of that football team and make them better is going to be the biggest question in reality for the Giants moving forward. So Cuervo, looking at this team, looking at the Giants, I got them last in this division. You have them in third within this division. Greg, what do you think about the Giants? Where do you think they'll end up?
Third.
You got them third too. You don't have them last. Man, that just tells me the team that I think is in third is probably flip flopping, and I have to ask myself why. I mean, because I see who's at the quarterback on each one of these teams. I know which one is better, and that it's something just tells me that you guys having the Giants in third place.
How dare you say such a thing? That is insanity.
It's insanity. I mean, because when you look at listen, say whatever you want about the Washington Redskins, which, by the way, is the team that I have in third, that I'm assuming that you two have in last place. Their quarterback hasn't forgotten how to play quarterback. He's definitely better than Jones that's over in New York. So, in reality, when you're moving forward within this dumpster fire of a division, you've got to have a quarterback. And say whatever you want, they got one. And just because of one game last year against my pitiful Jacksonville Jaguars, they lay the egg. But that doesn't mean that he didn't play well all season long, better than what we've seen from Jones from New York. Why do you see the move from the Commanders? Sorry, that's what I said. The Commanders, Cuervo, why do you see the Commanders sliding in last place within this division of football?
I see it because they lose. They lost Kerrigan a couple of years ago. They lost. They've got issues with McLaurin, right? So
right.
Scary Terry, that you got that whole contract thing going on. Where did he resign or did he get an extension?
Absolutely, he re-signed. He got paid, sir. He signed a 3-year extension worth $70 million.
Well, there you go. But who's going to throw him the football? You know who's going to throw him the football? Taylor Heineke's going to throw him the football.
No. Carson Wentz is throwing him the football.
Until he gets hurt, Sonny. That's my point. And I know Greg's cringing.
He had a pretty successful season last year on the injury side of it.
Greg is cringing because I know he's got love for Carson, and I get it. You got to give. It's the reality, man. It's the reality.
That's the best thing is with this business. They don't give these quarterbacks enough chances to do anything until they ship them off too quickly, and then they start being successful somewhere else, and then they kick themselves in the butt.
Oh, so you think that's going to be Tyler Heineke, for God's sakes?
That guy is a
Wentz. That guy is a dumpster fire waiting for another flame. I'm telling you right now. He's great to watch. He's fun to watch, and you think he's exciting. But when it comes to football skills, this guy's lacking. I mean, and say whatever you want about Carson Wentz. That guy's got skills. He didn't automatically forget how to play quarterback. He had a bad game against the Jaguars. Should have won the football game. Should have been in the playoffs. There's absolutely no question about that. But if you don't think that, Wentz is a step up from Heineke, even if he doesn't play the whole damn season, he's got a better opportunity for wins, because when you look at what Washington's looking at this year, again, last year, 7-10, they were lucky to get it. They got Jacksonville, they got Detroit, they got Philadelphia, the Cowboys, the Titans, Bears, and then it's the Packers, then it's the Colts. So they start off with 6 games that are winnable in reality if they get the opportunity to put it together. And whether or not the stability at the quarterback position with the Carson Wentz will be better than a Tyler Heineke, which I think it will be, they're going to be in more games in reality and maybe get the wins like they were in games last year where they didn't get the wins. Maybe the addition of Carson Wentz gets them about 3 or 4 extra games this year. Not saying they're going to be out. I mean, got them finishing, third within the division, so they're not going to make the playoffs, but I think it's a team that's taking the steps. But what they did not do, Cuervo, you had Carson Wentz, wonderful. But what else did you do in the off season to bring in players, which is where they were lacking? And that could be the problem for them moving into the season, which maybe I understand why you might have them at 4th place, because they really did not do anything in reality to improve the offense.
Well, you know what they did do, though, is they downgraded at offensive line. So they let Brandon Scherf go, and they signed Norwell. And to me, that's a step down on the offensive line. So that is not what you want. Normally, you want to improve, right? Well,
normally.
Washington didn't really do that on the offensive line. And then, on top of that, I can't remember if was Kerrigan already gone or did he retire this year with Washington?
I think he's still there, but I think there have been rumors of him go.
Nope, he used Philadelphia last year.
There you go. So he retired though, right?
He retired to Washington Commander. He signed a one-day contract.
That went over. I didn't even hear about that. So there you go. So.
No, there's somebody I'm thinking of that they lost. Maybe I'm just making it up, but I thought they lost somebody else on defense.
But when I was looking at it, and Todd kind of mentioned it, the defense is there, keeping guys healthy. Obviously, they lost a big part of their defense last year to injury, and that was huge. Chase's last name. That guy's a stud. When you lose that guy, you lose a cornerstone of your defense. So if he's healthy and they can remain there, I don't know if 500's achievable or near 500's achievable in reality for this football team, but it is definitely better than what they put out on the foot. But maybe 7-10, maybe 8-9. I think but you get the opportunity to be better with the quarterback position. And as much as I think, and I like Tyler Heineke, don't get me wrong, I get who he is, and hopefully he understands who he is, which is he is a backup quarterback in the NFL, and he's good enough to get you through 2 or 3 games, and you've seen that this guy could not handle the load through the whole season, based upon what happened last year with the Commanders. Now, granted, they didn't do him a lot of favors, let's be honest there. But at the same time, you got to look like you can move a football team. You got to look like you can be a leader. And I didn't see that out of Tyler Heineke last year for the Washington football team. So now they go in with a leader. You go in with a guy that's proven and has won some football games. And, say whatever you want about him. He has won some football games. But, just in the quarterback position compared to the Giants, I just don't see how that changes up for them. But again, the schedule, Cuervo, the schedule is interesting. Jacksonville, they should get the win if they're a good football. And this is if they're a good football team. They beat the Jaguars. They beat the Lions. They're in a dogfight within the division with the Eagles and the Cowboys, and they're going to lose to the Titans. Dogfight with the Chicago Bears. Lose to Green Bay and lose to Indianapolis. So you're looking. They're going to get maybe 3 games before the bye, maybe 4 if they get lucky. But that's going to be better than the Giants, I think.
Yeah, well, I give the over/under. I'm going to give Carson Wentz this year is 8 games he's going to play.
8 games
in total. Now, I don't know how that's going to get split up. He's going to play the first half and get hurt and then be gone the rest of the year, or he's going to play 3 here, get hurt, play another 3, and then I don't know. But I say he's going to play 8 games.
Interestingly enough, when you take a look at Carson Wentz and what he has done this past season, Cuervo, he played in 17 games, which is something that you haven't seen from Carson Wentz. So he played all 17 games. So I don't know if this is a turnaround for this guy, and he's ready to become that guy that the Philadelphia Eagles wished he could be, and maybe he turns it around. You get it Sometimes when you're driving down the street, Cuervo, and you need a tire and you got to pass by that used tire place, you're just hoping you get a good retread. And that's what Washington's trying to do when they grab up Carson Wentz in reality. And maybe it works. Maybe he can go another 20,000 miles. And in this case, maybe another 17 games and make them respectful. But that's the problem. When you look at the Giants and you look at the Washington Commanders, they look like the dumpster fire that they really are in reality.
Yeah. Or maybe the patch that got put on Wentz last year is actually going to stick.
Maybe.
The tire patch. So who knows? Maybe it'll stay. But here's the other thing that worries me about the Commanders is, and maybe I'm overthinking this. This whole situation with the owner, Snyder, and all that.
That's true.
I don't know if that's going to be any type of distraction, or it's going to be, how that's going to affect the team and the season. And I just don't know. I think about those things. And when stuff like that happens to a team like the Commanders, it normally equals a bad season. So
yeah, I go back to Major League. Anybody that knows about this movie, okay, knows that you figure out a way to win in the light of everybody against them and just say, screw it, let's just go out and win some games. That's what I see the Commanders with. It's obviously within Schneider in that situation and everything else, which by the way, this stadium, I and this is just what I heard, and I might be wrong, but only a 50,000 seat stadium tells you a lot about the fan base on what it used to be back 20 years ago compared to what it is this year, which, wow, kind of funny. The last 20 years it's been ran by who? The guy that's got so much controversy that he can't stay out of the freaking news, week after week, day after day. So you look at the total turnaround of a football team from a new owner with an ego bigger, almost maybe bigger than Jerry Jones within their own division. Thinking that their crap don't stink and anybody can run a football team. And that's obviously not so, because you've seen the lack of competitiveness from that football team, the lack of any kind of enthusiasm going from there, and what makes it sad for me, and Cuervo probably too, is that they got a head coach that is quality, but they got a front office that is zero quality. So you get the best and the worst of everything that's going to come down. Chico's the one that's going to end up with the griddle marks on his ass and be out the door next year.
Yeah. I mean, I want Washington to do well for Chico. Right. I just don't see it happening, though. Yeah. I can't, I mean.
I can.
It does surprise me, though, that, you say Wentz played 17 games last year.
Yeah, 17 games. I mean, geez, talking about breaking a tradition. He did it in a pretty big fashion.
Yeah, that's more games than he played the previous 2 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so maybe they're closing up or deck or renovation. I don't know. That's just what I heard, Todd. That's just what But then again, I get bits and pieces because sometimes I don't dive into it. But I heard that that stadium that they're about ready to build is they're only looking 50,000, maybe 55,000 seats. Which in reality, if you have an NFL franchise football team, you should be able to fill a 70,000 stadium easy. Based upon what the NFL is, based upon the city that you're in, and based upon the tradition of what Washington football has been over the last 20 to 25 years, you should be able to fill that stadium, and they're not even taking the chance. They're going to put in 50,000. So maybe the seats won't be right next to you so big guys can be more comfortable. Maybe that might be the idea, the hogs, so they need a little bit more space, in those seats. So maybe they'll put in recliners more so than stadium seats.
That'd be cool.
Anyway. All right, so Cuervo has the Giants finishing in last place. I got them in third, and Greg has them in third as well. So I'm writing that down. So I got it in. So that takes us to the team that's in second place. And drum roll, I don't know if it can be surprised because I can introduce this and you don't know where I'm going. Why? Because this division of football does the same thing over and over. One team wins, the other one doesn't. One team wins, the other one does. Oh, every once in a while the Giants will sneak in. So this team has been to the playoffs. This team has, hasn't had the best success within this division. But then, they have the personnel that, that might be the future that will take them out there. So who am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys that were 12-5 last season. And this division of football, 12-5 will win you the division every single year. That being said, of course, that's the name of the show, Cuervo. When you're looking at the Dallas Cowboys, you want to talk some losses. This is loss. You could say whatever you want. Amari Cooper, gone. Cedric Wilson, gone. Blake Jarwin, gone. Collins, right tackle, gone. Randy Gregory, gone. These are all guys that made plays, and you heard their names called during the game because they were making plays. So what do they do? Who did they bring in? Absolutely nobody. Nobody. Listen, you're Jerry Jones, and you bring in nobody.
False.
Go ahead.
That's false. That's definitely false. Who knows the name of Anthony Barr? Anthony Barr.
Anthony Barr. He's in Dallas now.
Yes, sir.
When did that happen?
Again, how long ago did that happen? I didn't hear.
I don't have that on my list.
Okay, you got Dante Fowler. He's still there. You got DeMarcus Lawrence. He stayed there. Then you also add Carlos Watkins, Anthony Barr, Dante Fowler, Malik Hooker, and Jaron Kearse.
Well, hold on now. That also being said, I missed a few of those. That's fine. They also brought in James Washington, which is a joke in itself. But the only thing they did right here in this offseason, I'm sorry, is their draft and drafting that offensive lineman. I know you like Barr. I know you do, and I think he's got the talent. But as much as they lost in the offseason, I don't know how that compares and brings them into where you got to look at the Dallas Cowboys and go, that's that 12 and whatever team from last year, and they're going to win the division again. I don't see it because the losses that are lost are big time losses compared to what they're going to bring in and whether or not they can gel within that their respective positions in order to be successful.
Well, this is the
what
thing
am I
for
on
you,
mute
Sonny.
here or something?
Here's probably a big shocker. Here's a big
Dallas.
one for you, sir. This is probably the first shocker for this division. Is you probably had me marked down as the Giants being third, Washington being fourth, but you can flip that, sir, because it's going to be Washington second, Cowboys third, Philadelphia
wow. Hey, all I can say is wow, and interesting. So maybe I'm not very wrong on what, but
What?
I don't know. That's interesting. Now, I agree with Greg in a certain thing. This defense is now so predictable. Say whatever you want. Key losses on the defensive side of the ball. That's number one. Okay, so that's going to give the quarterbacks more time to throw the football. Okay, that's another thing. Not only that, you just saw the guy with all the interceptions and the big time covering and digs on the defensive side get burned by a freaking rookie. Okay, and my God, I'm telling you right now, when I said this last year, Cuervo, hey, he's got all the interceptions in the world, but how many yards is he giving up in that? And sooner or later, that'll come back and bite him in the ass. Well, that's 2022 because this defense is in bad shape. But what they do have is a quarterback for the last 3 seasons that's thrown for the most yards in the last 3 seasons, that being Dak Prescott. Now, hopefully he can stay healthy. Hopefully he can do something. Hopefully they use Pollard between the 20s and put Ezekiel Elliott in near the goal line instead of vice versa, and utilize the wide running backs really good because say whatever you want about Michael Gallup. Okay, everybody loves him, but guys, this guy, he's a number 2. He's not a number 1 wide receiver on a football team. He's just not. Now, that's my opinion, and everybody has an opinion, and they're like assholes. Everybody's got one. They all stink. And, all right, so mine might be just right there, but the Dallas Cowboys take a step back defensively. That means Dak Prescott's going to have to throw the football more. That means they need to get more help on the offensive line, which they did, by the way. They went in the draft and did what I always said Dallas Cowboys should do. Draft offensive linemen. Protect your $42 million quarterback so he can make plays. So they did that. So that is the reason why I kind of did it. They kind of made got the improvement on the offensive line, but what they're going to give up defensively, you may be right. Washington may sneak up there and end up in second place, depending on how the Dallas Cowboy defense plays. And that was one of my concerns, putting Dallas second within this division and not third. But ownership and just tradition of losing is the reason why I have the Commanders in third place more so than second. So, Greg, looking at the Dallas Cowboys, tell us why.
If you look at everything you just mentioned, the defense took a complete nosedive, but not just the defense. So did the offense. I mean, they decided to clean house. They decided to get rid of Amari Cooper, their number 1, who's by far probably their best. That's going to hurt them so bad because CeeDee Lamb ain't ready for that. He's a rookie. He was just come off his rookie season, and now you're going to put him against the best corners in the NFL. Good luck, sir. It doesn't work that way. And then you're going to have Michael Gallup. If he's in that spot, cool. Who else they got? James Washington. That's the other guy's going to come in. And Schultz, their tight end. In the NFL so far, we've seen this. New linemen, they don't usually pan out right away. It takes a little bit to develop. So,
unless they're in Dallas. They know how to breed offensive linemen. I'm sorry they do, and I hate to say that because I can't stand them.
Neither can I, but they took this line that they had that was all successful a couple of years to develop before they actually got in there. So that's why Philadelphia ran the division for 4 to 5 years in a row before they started coming back. And there was a flip-flop between Washington and the Giants and all that good stuff that happened over there when this division and this league started going crazy. But you see the lineman issue there. Dak Prescott's going to be on the run more. I'm not sure how much this offensive power is going to be able to stay up. I mean, if they are, great. But I just don't see it. I see too many defects and flaws from them this offseason to have them stay at the same factor level that they were last season.
Well, the odds are, listen, after you have a season like the Dallas Cowboys have last year and within this division, the odds of you being 12 and whatever it is, 12 and 5, okay, is almost impossible because that's just the way Vegas knows it too. Now, all you got to do is look at where the number in the over and under for the Dallas Cowboys is at 9. Okay. So that right there tells you about where the difference is. The difference of 3 games could be the difference within this division. So even Vegas sees that they take a step back for whatever reason they see it. We see it, probably different than what they do. But Cuervo, the Dallas Cowboys, they got the quality quarterback at the $42 million mark. So he got his money. Now this is a season now where guys like this who get paid this kind of money, this is where they got to step up and be the guy to take them to that place and not such a quick playoff exit, but actually make some movement within the playoffs. Do you see the Dallas Cowboys, first of all, making the playoffs? And if they make the playoffs, Cuervo, do you see them actually making a dent within the playoffs, maybe an NFC championship game anytime soon?
I think this is going to be similar to last year. They're gonna, if they even make it, they're gonna barely make it. They're probably going to be like 6, 7 seed. They're going to be one and done. It's not going to be good. For Dallas, I mean, they're just not. I don't think McCarthy is the coach.
Wait, Jerry Jones just gave him the vote of confidence with Sean.
Okay,
Payton.
well, we all know what that
Sean
means.
Payton living 5 miles away from the practice facility, of course.
That's like saying someone in the military has great potential for promotion. Great potential, right? Greg knows what I'm talking about. It's what we call a velvet dagger.
Are you reading your fit reps again, sir?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Oh, Lord.
Great potential.
The Dallas Cowboys are just this team. I mean, depending on which publication you read, they're going to win this division by 3 or 4 games. And different division, different publication, you got them finishing second. I mean, and if you listen to Greg Weber, he's got them in third, evidently. So you're looking at a lot of different things. But the Dallas Cowboys are who the Dallas Cowboys are. They're always the talk of the town. The fans get heard more than any fans in the NFL, which I don't understand. They haven't had a winning tradition for the last 20 years. The only kind of success that they have had is 1 year with Romo and 2 years with Dak playing well. So it's all about the quarterback position, but the lack of defense and the losses on the defensive side of the ball are going to give quarterbacks too much time to make plays. And that's where the Dallas Cowboys, and Dak is only going to be able to do so much. And he's going to be the one that's going to take the heat for them not winning. It won't be that because the Dallas Cowboys lost so much on the defensive side of the ball. It won't be because Diggs only gets 5 interceptions to 12 and gives up close to 2,000 yards. It'll all fall up on the shoulders of the $45 million man being Dak Prescott. And then everybody says Dak Prescott sucks. And if you put Dak Prescott on any other football team like the Seattle Seahawks have an opportunity within their division to play for the playoffs. Not necessarily win, but if you put Dak Prescott in the Seattle Seahawks uniform, they're on the cusp of making the playoffs. So it just all depends on what you believe in if you're going to watch the game, because the fans don't watch the game. The fans they don't watch the damn game. They watch the scoreboard. And those are two different things in reality when you're thinking about NFL and NFL quality quarterbacks, because Dak Prescott, again, on the football team is a different player. I just don't think he is set up to win in the proper way that a franchise quarterback can or should in reality. So now, Cuervo, you got the Dallas Cowboys in second in this division. Second in this division. Hey, and listen, Todd, I'm reading what you're saying, and I love me some Dan Quinn, but that guy made a huge mistake by not taking the head coaching job, because he's staying right there because he thinks he actually could smell the head coaching job here in Dallas. That was the biggest mistake of Dan Quinn's career. He should have moved on, took a head coaching job anywhere else, because he had 3 opportunities to get it, and he would have got one of them. So, Dan Quinn, as good as a defensive coordinator as he was, they ran him out of in Atlanta because he couldn't get the job done with the personnel that they had out on the football field. And that's going to be a big difference this year as well. So, I don't know. Dan Quinn, I love him. I like him. But he's just – it's the same thing with Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn. They're both not set to be able to win games with the personnel that they got right now, at least in my personal opinion. So Cuervo, that brings us to the number 1 team within this division, and we all know which way Greg was going to go, okay? But we're going to talk about it, but I'm going to end it with the reason why they're going to win this division. Okay, I'm going to tell you the reason why they're going to win this division. I'm going to hear everybody else's, and you will be wrong, unless you figure out what I'm talking about. But Greg, I can never do that. By the way, anyway, why are the Eagles going to win this division, Greg?
Overall, the best team on offensive, defensively, and sound team in the division. I mean, they improved everywhere. Their offense got even more powerful. Their defense got even more powerful. So now we have, and not just when you look at defense, it's not just the defensive line. The defensive line got better. The linebacking core got better. The corners and the secondary got better. So the entire defense just got redone. And with the addition of Bradbury and many others, with the Kobe Dean coming from Georgia, you also got his teammate that's going to be right there in the middle.
Davis.
Davis. But that's right.
Jordan Davis
right there in the middle. Good old Jordan is going to sit there with Hassan Riddick, who's a recent addition in there, along with I can't even say all their names right now. But, Fletcher Cox is going to mold that dude into a beast, even his final year with Philadelphia. And then you got the MVP, pretty much the new face of that's going to be in there, a sack machine. It's in the middle with Fletcher Cox and Davis as well. And then Barnett returning along with, let's see who else is in there. Yeah, Derek Barnett's still there. Your Vol still with us there, Cuervo. So it's all good there. You got Kaiser White coming in as well from San Diego. So, I mean, the linebacking core got better. Then you have the offense, and we can't say enough with the addition of A.J. Brown.
Yeah, A.J. Brown. I fun with you as far as the dumpster fire is concerned, being the Eagles. But listen, when you're looking at the Eagles and what they're doing, you're right. They probably had one of the best off seasons that they possibly have had in the last 10, 15 years. I will say that. And again, you have the experience. You talk about Fletcher Cox, and these are guys that are going. And this was a team that was on the cusp last year at 9-8. So AJ Brown in, Zach Pascal, Riddick, White, Bradbury, and are all in. Never mind what they got in the draft. They got defensive line, offensive line. They even worked into the secondary with linebacker with Dean as well. So this is a team that improved in different areas, many places, instead of just one or two. And we see this all day long, right? You see a team that will improve, but they'll only improve in one position. The way the Eagles improved this year, they improved in multiple positions, and they look better doing it. Now, Cuervo, we got them both winning this division, okay? And you and me have Dallas second. So, what's it going to take for the Philadelphia Eagles to get over the Dallas Cowboys this year? Is it all about schedule? Is it all about division? Or what do you think when you're looking at them?
Wait, are you asking why did Philly?
Why Philly's going to win this division over the Dallas Cowboys?
Oh, well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear, like we just mentioned. I mean, the improvements that on the roster for the Eagles, they filled the biggest needs that they had.
Mm-hmm.
They found Fletcher Cox's replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive line wise, I mean, I think that's probably what they need to address next, because they are gonna be most likely losing one or two guys, if I'm not mistaken, Greg, based on what you and I talk about. Because I think Lane Johnson's going to be done. I think Kelsey's going to be done.
Right.
So those two guys you're going to have to replace. But they needed a number one. They got him. They
definitely.
Who's going to be the other? Bradbury.
Bradbury. They picked him up.
With big play Slay. And then
you got to remember, every time the Eagles have two solid corners, they end up going to playoffs and winning the division.
Yeah. So.
Well, think about this. As far as the Philadelphia Eagles are concerned, listen to the schedule. Okay, they get the Detroit Lions week 1, Vikings. That might be a dogfight. Commanders, Jaguars, Cardinals, if they are put together, I don't know. Dallas Cowboys, all before the bye. This is the setup for a 5-1 or 4-2 start, which is what they need to do. They got to get out of the gates, I think. But because after the bye, the Steelers, who knows what they'll be? They got the Texans and the Commanders again. And before they get to the meat of the schedule, being the Colts, Packers, and the Titans, 3-game stretch there that is really hard. But then they get another 3-game stretch of mediocre: Giants, Bears, Cowboys. And I don't know, will the Saints be the Saints? And with the Giants, the schedule sets up for them to easily be 12-5 within this division of football. And what a great schedule they got in order for them to accomplish and to win this division in reality. But you guys still haven't touched upon what I think the reason why the Eagles will win this division. And they'll be in the running if they don't do what I think they need to do in order to win it. They'll be in the running, go to week 16 and 17 like they always do, end of the season to win it. But if the Philadelphia Eagles can manage 700 yards rushing from other than their quarterback, that is where they're going to win this division. Because if they can depend upon the running game outside of their quarterback, they easily win this division, because of the fact that they won't have an answer, because everybody's going to pinpoint up on the quarterback. And if they get any kind of production, whether it's rushing or on third down with someone in the running back position making a big time impact player, there's nobody in this division that's going to catch them. And it's all about the running game for Philadelphia in reality, in order for them to have the success that they are going to do in order to win this division. Never mind what they're going to do in the playoffs. That part's irrelevant, because really, if anybody's thinking about what they're going to do in the playoffs before week number 1, they got to get their heads out of their butts and get it back on the football field and get it there quite quickly. So whether or not it is Sanders or somebody else on the outside, or even a combination of 2 or 3 different people that gives them 700 yards outside of the quarterback, is the reason why they win this division and win it easily. If they don't, they're going to have to fight for the division against the Dallas Cowboys, I think. So that's where I was coming from. But I think they're unstoppable if they get a real running game outside the quarterback.
You're going to see a dual or triple threat on the running back era for Philadelphia this year, and you're going to see the passing game as well come into mix in with that RPO offense. You're going to have Hurts, and here's your sleeper name of the season, Kenneth Gainwell. who will probably be the starting running back of Philadelphia. Miles Sanders most likely may end up taking a back road on his contract year, depending on how he does, because those two are fighting right now for the top spot, and Gainwell's winning.
Yeah, and think about this: you got AJ Brown. You got to watch that guy, right? You got to plan for an AJ Brown. Say whatever you want about him. If you don't think he's great, that's absolutely fine. But if you forget about him and you don't plan against him, that's going to be a problem. And when they start planning with him, I think they'll take the back road to the running back position, because you got on the other side Bradbury. And so say whatever you want. This is a team that I think can move up, and I'm not going to say they're going to play for the NFC Championship game, but I think they could get out of the first round in reality. But then all you got to worry about is health at the quarterback position. I think you can fill up the rest of it on health on the other side, but if you lose it at the quarterback position, you're in a lot of trouble if you're in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's got an
offensive line too.
For Hurts, he's got to let it rip. He can't get happy feet. He can't, be the guy that his first instinct is to run with the ball. He's got to trust. He's got to trust the offense, and he has to do what quarterbacks do. Don't think feet first. Like, let your receivers make plays. Let them go out there, and get those big gains, and
let someone else take the hits.
Well, yeah. I mean, but his instinct is to run, and he's got to get out of that habit. So if that happens, watch out.
Well, they got to corral him. They got to say, stay in the frickin' pocket for as long as they possibly can. And say whatever you want. We know what his talent is, okay? I'm not saying take away from his running skills. You just got to at least make that a second or a third opportunity, more so than a first or second, or he's going to get knocked out of the game. And then what? And then, Greg, who's the backup quarterback in Philadelphia? And I'm asking because I don't know.
What's Joe Flacco? Gone.
Yeah, well, he's in the process of trying to win the Jets job. So hold on, I'll tell you who it is, because Google knows everything fairly. Oh, Carson Strong and who? Gardner Minshew. Oh, good God!
Oh yeah,
you cannot afford to lose Jalen Hurts, regardless.
Yeah, I forgot about
that. Gardner Minshew.
Who is that other dude, by the way? I have never heard of Carson Strong. Who the hell is this?
This is
out of Nevada. Out in Nevada. Never heard of him. So, interestingly enough, it should be really interesting. But that's how I got the division. Greg, I love the pick of the Washington Commanders in second in this division. Because Carson Wentz, he hasn't forgotten how to play the quarterback position. And that's the only thing. And that would be the Dallas Cowboys sliding like I think they will slide even more in reality if they end up third within this division. So that I love that pick. And I don't think it's a sexy pick at all. I don't even think it's outlandish. Because of the coaching, because of what they can possibly do at the quarterback position, they got to hold it down defensively, though, if they're going to get in second place. That means don't lose your major guys to injuries fairly early to where you end up, trying to suck it up at the end of the season when they get healthy. So, wow. So what a division of football. Philadelphia, all three of us across. Then we go to Dallas at second, except for Greg. And then I got Washington in third and the Giants in last. Cuervo has the Giants in third and Washington in last. So interesting. Once you get outside the top of the division, it's a coin flip on where they're going to end up at, and I love it. It's all about what's going to happen. So, Greg, good to see you, my friend. I'm glad you were able to join us here. At least talk a little of your Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm telling you, the running game, you're going to be a happy guy. If you get that running game, you're going to be a happy guy. I'm telling you.
What's funny is Greg putting Dallas in third. He's being nice because he can't justify it enough to put him in last.
Can't stand him. Who can?
Because if he could put him in last, he would.
I'm legit if they were if the teams in the defense and offensive gameplay would do anything. Hey, would I guess come out and show their play and the game plans and the coaching staff and how it was set up. I'd put them where they would be rightfully. If my Eagles would be doing the wrong things, I'd be putting them third or fourth. So I keep it fair. Unlike
by the way, I'm
somebody
hearing a
there-
lot of good things coming out of training camp from guys that are not, guys that you hear of. So when you're getting reports from other guys, outside the big guys, and you're hearing improvements where they need to go, I'm hearing a lot of that from Philadelphia because I read Marcus's page a lot. So that's interesting to see what they'll end up doing with other guys that are not vital personnel. And what they can and cannot do, maybe in replacement in case someone gets hurt or whatever the case may be. So that is the NFC East in a nutshell. So, and I can't even wait to get the next week because why? It is possibly two worst divisions of football, and how we're going to try to lift these teams up. That being the AFC and the NFC South. And how we're gonna bring these teams up to even quite possibly what two teams out of the 8 that might make the playoffs. So or will make the playoffs because 2 of them are going to be there. Whether it's the other 6 teams, will they have a team within the playoffs as well? So that's next week. So I'm excited about that. Greg, thanks for joining us and kicking around with us for a little while, especially with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm glad to see you're having some restraint there on your fandom. I appreciate that. But hey, when you got a fandom, it's actually right. You're in good shape. So I
tell you, the Eagle fan in him is saying 0-17 for the Cowboys.
Yeah, well,
that's what the Eagle fan in him is saying.
Well,
in my mind, yes, but in reality, no.
Well, think about this. I mean, they play the same schedule. In reality, it's the same exact schedule. And the Philadelphia Eagles look like they can win a lot more games compared to the Dallas Cowboys. And that's mainly because of the defense. And again, it's all going to be about Dak Prescott and whether or not he can pull it out and make the, be Tony Romo-ish and be, other, quarterback greats out of Dallas so that they'll say, hey, they made it to the Super Bowl and won one. So, it's going to be another year. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys got it in them to win the Super Bowl this year because of the losses that they suffered on defense.
They'll be fighting for the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll be fighting hard for the playoffs. So we got it. So that's where we're at. So Greg, good to see you, my friend. And if you want to hang around, you're more than welcome. Just a few other things that we had going on that we were going to talk about, Cuervo, that I put up in the screen. And so this one right here, you should be really happy about. Your Hall of Fame players right there. Right there in the lead are the Dallas Cowboys, are the Chicago Bears by 3. Cuervo, by 3. You should be really happy about that. But I will say I'm a little shocked about where the Eagles are on this list. They got some great players, but I mean, I thought they'd have more, but evidently they don't. So even the Cardinals have more Hall of Famers than them. So but you should be happy about that, Cuervo. Your Bears looking pretty good as far as Hall of Fame is concerned.
Well, I mean, at least we're good at something.
Packers all year.
Yeah, they got their own branches out there where you can spend hours in there. Maybe the hour you would spend looking in the Eagles wing. It is what
I didn't hear what you said about the Packers.
Hey, but Tony Baselli, how about him finally getting that Jaguars first Hall of Famer?
I was gonna say Jaguars are on the board now.
He's the Jaguars are on the board. That's good, bad, or indifferent. But so that's huge. By the way, what do you think about this year's Hall of Fame? Selections there, Cuervo.
Some good picks, some
that could have waited.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Baselli waited a long time, so I'm glad he got in. He's been waiting 6 years, so that was I was glad to see him get there. But there were some in there where I was like, really? But how about you, Greg? What did you think of the Hall of Fame inductees this year?
It was really good. I liked him, especially Coach Dick Vermeil.
Vermeil?
Dick Vermeil was, and he said it perfectly, which a lot of people don't realize it. And he said it on TV, just his last interview, actually, is a lot of these teams that have all these new coaches, which is like 11 of them right now. What is it? How is he going to change them around like he did to Philadelphia, how he did to the Rams, and things that every team that he's been part of? And he says, well, it's all about the culture of the teams. They don't get enough time to actually do the work. It's too fast. So all these coaches that are coming in just getting tossed out because they ain't doing good in one season. This is the reason why. It's just moving too quickly. So Dick Vermeil, he shows why he's a Hall of Fame coach, and he's just a good dude all around.
Well, he definitely turned into an old softy because that guy will cry at a drop of a hat right now. So that's what happens when you get old, though. You know, you start getting old, you get more sentimental about things, and then you find yourself crying at cat food commercials, and and that's where I look at Vermeil. Although I loved it in his prime, that was one of the toughest coaches in the NFL, and see him go to tears on little things now. Man, you see the progression of senility. I mean, getting old, in the time that it happened, because I find myself crying at stupid things. I'm like, what am I crying about? Just so I'm getting up there too.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to have to exit out of here. I thank you very much for having me on your show, though, Sonny. And,
no, I'm glad that you came in. Always love to have you on. And whether you're right winged, Eagle fan, or even putting in a good production with us on us, we always appreciate you having on.
Anytime you want me, I'll be there.
You got it, Greg. So he is Greg Weber. He is our Eagles expert amongst us. So always good to see him. Thanks for joining us, my friend.
Thank you again.
So Greg Weber. So that being said, of course, that's the name of this show, Cuervo. You talked about guys that could have waited. And there is 3 on this list that I've seen: Cliff Branch, Leroy Butler, and Sam Mills. Those were guys that I looked at on that list and said, these guys can wait. There's some other guys that I think, at least in my personal opinion, that could have waited, and someone else should have got in as far as that was concerned.
Well, I think from Mills, I'm on the opposite end. If you were going to let him in, why'd you wait so long? Because
I think that's my point.
It's a posthumous induction for him. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize how long ago he had passed away. I looked it up this morning because they were showing on NFL Network. They were showing his documentary, Football Life.
Right.
And I looked it up. I was like, when did Sam Mills die? Because I knew he had passed away.
Right.
2005.
Right. It's been 8 years or 7 years.
And he stopped playing in 1997. So you're talking, 25 years later, after he stopped playing, he finally gets in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying he should have been first ballot. I'm not saying, any of that. My thing, though, is when he passed away in 2005, I think maybe a year or two after that.
That was the opportunity to
really show that high level of respect for Sam Mills. And now, maybe they just felt like he wasn't the best candidate at the time. But did it really take you 15 years to figure that out? That's my thing. So
yeah,
I just think it's long overdue for Mills. So I'm going to disagree on that one. Branch, I'm a little too young I know who he is. I know who he is.
By the way, I just don't think he's a Hall of Famer. We go back to greatness.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No offense against Branch. When you think of the greats, his name doesn't come to mind. So in reality,
this is total BS.
And
I don't even think he's necessarily a Hall of Famer per se. Hey, congratulations if you can get someone to say you're a Hall of Famer, even to the point when I beat down on Frank Gore. Congratulations, someone saying that you're, with authority saying that you are a Hall of Famer. That's great. So if you can get that, that's wonderful. I just humbly disagree with whether or not he should even be in there in the first place. Now, I'm not saying that he's a bad player. I'm not saying that he wasn't great, but I'm just saying compared to some of the guys that are in line to get into the Hall of Fame right now, I just don't see where Branch comes in with it. And I don't mean to, poo-poo the guy at all. Even Leroy Butler, to a certain extent, I know that guy. Listen, that guy's a stud. But yeah, I know. But at the same time, I think that was one that could have waited too. So there's a few that I think that should be in there compared to who are not there. Dick Vermeil is a great pick. Then bringing him in, I love that. I love the whole thing about Dick Vermeil as far as coaching, and that's old school coaching. You're never going to see that again. By the way, Cuervo. You're not going to see a Dick Vermeil coach football team in the NFL ever again because the NFL's not molded that way anymore. So it's a total different game.
It's not that the NFL, it's the players. I mean, they're like Charmin tissue.
Mm-hmm.
They're I mean, it's beyond soft.
Way soft. Well, you got to get that soft one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So here's the ones that I had issues with. For the ones that I do know about.
Okay.
Bryant Young was a good player. He was a good player. Was he an impactful player? Was he was he the focus of those 49er defenses? I don't know. I don't know if he was. You know what I mean? He wasn't like a Merton, because I think Merton Hanks got in, but he wasn't that guy that like the focus of the defense was on. Sam Mills was for a little while in New Orleans, Carolina. The biggest one I have a problem with though, and if you get emails on this, Sonny, you can redirect them to me. I will answer them. I will respond. I will give my opinion, and it ain't going to change just because somebody gets their little fifis hurt, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The only reason Richard Seymour got in is because he played for Bill Belichick.
Absolutely.
That
can be the difference whether or not you're a Hall of Famer or not. I agree with you 100%.
That's not a knock on Belichick though. That's
not at all.
That's actually me saying that Belichick was his saving grace. If he had played for anyone else, he'd have been a mediocre. Look what he did after he left New England. He was trash.
And that's a valid point. After he left, compared to what he did on those Super Bowl teams, there's no question.
He was trash. And it's not like he left, after his prime. Seymour left because the Patriots do that. They will let guys go, and they're still, fairly young. Still got some gas in the tank.
See, because I think that's a Bill Belichick thing. Because if you look at the guys that he cuts, they're usually around in between their 6th, 7th, and 8th year of production.
Right.
If you look at it. And what he is saying, you're going to get the best out of these young players before they get into a position where 30. They think that they're entitled for certain things. And I think that's one of the reasons why when you see what Belichick has done with the young players and the success he has with those young players, and then finding the older players that will adhere to what he wants to do more so than what they want to do. It's the reason why he's successful. And listen, you can say whatever you want about Bill Belichick. I don't know how he gets to these young kids, but he does. I don't know. Maybe it's because of all the rings he has. Maybe it's because of all the diamonds. And really, that should be enough to get that attention in reality. But, that's the reason why he makes it. Because Cuervo, listen to this. There's guys that didn't make it. DeMarcus Ware. Zach Thomas.
Those are Hall of Famers. I'm telling you right now. Those guys are Hall of Famers, not Richard Seymour. I'm sorry. Richard Seymour was at best, he was the 5th best player on those Patriot teams on the defense.
Absolutely. And that's my point. Even to a certain extent, Cuervo, if you're going to throw a special teams guy in there, how about Devin Hester? I mean, you want to talk exciting? Rondé Barber. Listen, these are guys that I think should be in the Hall of Fame. And the one that I don't know how they missed on it, Cuervo. Hold on. What's his name? Jared Allen? How come Jared Allen was not a first ballot Hall of Famer? Actually, kind of shocks me. But
no, I don't think
I love me some Jared Allen. I know you hate him because he's a Minnesota Viking.
No, I don't hate. Well, he played for the Bears too later on in his career.
Yeah, how many years? So, come on.
I think it was what, 2 years?
2 years. I mean, come on.
Look, do I think he's first ballot?
2 years don't make a Bear great. I'm sorry, you don't.
No, I know, but he wouldn't get inducted as a Bear anyways. But
yeah, that's true.
Only the best of the best do that.
It would
only
be
the best of the best.
Actually, didn't he play for the Panthers too? God, that was bad. And you know what? Now that you say that, that's probably the reason why he didn't make it, because he played for the freaking Panthers. It's like, but those are the names that I think probably should have had more consideration.
I agree. I agree on definitely DeMarcus Ware. I mean, he was the guy in Dallas.
Yes,
hands down.
Not only that, in Denver, he was a big part of that Denver team.
He was a big part of it. Von Miller was the star.
If it wasn't for them, they wouldn't have had as much success as they did.
Well, because
which wasn't big, by the way.
Yeah, and I mean, it helped in the Super Bowl because, I mean, Von Miller went crazy on Cam Newton,
right?
And because Ware opened things up for Von Miller, and that's the impact that Ware still had, as a player at that time when they won the Super Bowl, when they beat Carolina. Ware's presence alone created those opportunities for Von Miller to do what he did. And
absolutely.
And then Zach Thomas
should be a Hall of Famer without question.
There's some people that are listening right now that don't even know who we're talking. Who's Zach Thomas? Who did he play for? Go look it up.
They're way too young then.
Yeah. I mean, that's so underrated. Underrated.
That guy's the epitome of an overachiever. When you think about him, that guy overachieved his whole damn career, which is the reason why he should be in the Hall of Fame more so than Frank Gore. I mean, but it is what it is. It just goes, and that's the reason why I like a Zach Thomas. That's the reason why I like a Tom McManus. It's guys that you take that you're getting more than what you really expected, and that's what you got with Zach Thomas.
I'll say this. And I love Brian Urlacher, Sonny. That's my heart.
Mm-hmm.
If him and Ray Lewis can get in, then I'm telling you, Zach Thomas, and I'll give you another name very similar. London Fletcher should be in the Hall of Fame.
He's not right. Is he eligible this year? I don't think he was eligible this year, was he?
I'm pretty sure he is.
I don't know. I thought he needed one more year before he was eligible. I think he's
Google
been out
knows.
Isn't it 5 years they give consideration for that? Has he been out for 5 years? Has London Fletcher been out of the NFL for 5 years? Holy smoke. It just goes to show how fast if it is. That just goes to show where he's at.
Well, let me.
London Fletcher, what a great name! Not just for one football team either.
13. Yeah, he stopped playing in 2013, Sonny.
I didn't realize. 2013, so he is eligible. Wow.
Yeah. And he's not in.
Dude, he wasn't even in the finalists, by the way. I don't think. So. Hey, and think about this. There's a guy that is your buddy's best friend that hasn't been put in there yet, and I don't know, should he be in there, Mr. Reggie Wayne? There's a guy that you can argue Hall of Fame career. There's no question. Now, granted, he had one of the best throwing them to the football, but you don't take away from the fact he still got the yards. So that'd be like taking Jerry Rice out of the Hall of Fame just because Joe Montana and Steve Young throw him the football. He still got there. He still had to catch the ball. So
sure.
I don't know. I'm on the fence on him, but I think sooner or later he should get it. He is a Hall of Fame type quarterback or wide receiver. So I think he deserves it, and I think sooner or later he should get it. The question is when. That's always going to be the biggest question.
Yeah, I mean, was this the first year he was eligible?
I think it's second year. I think he was eligible last year. I'm almost sure he was eligible last year. Let me find out. But
yeah, I'd say within the next year or two he'll probably get in, depending on because I lose track of who's eligible and all that stuff. And
I lose track of it too. I just happened to run across. And I found it and I bookmarked it so I can eventually talk about it. But Reggie Wayne, let's just see what we got going on with him because listen, this guy was productive his whole career, and his last year was 2014. So that puts him. Yeah, he's been eligible for a few years. So that's where he is
since 2020.
I think he'll get in sooner or later. He had some great numbers, and again, Peyton Manning being a big part of that, but still he was successful even after Peyton went away. So as long as the ball's in his area, he's going to catch it. So I think he should get it before Frank Gore. By the way, just not because I'm good at picking at Frank Gore. Okay. I'm really good at it. I am.
We both are.
Do you think he gets in first ballot?
Do I think he will, or
yes? I already know you don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I know Cuervo, and I know you don't think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but you think he gets in
as a first ballot? I think there's a good chance. Wow. I just think because of his all-time rankings, I think that's what's gonna really make his argument. I'm not saying I agree with it. I don't agree with it one bit. What does that mean?
No, one stat man. That's what I call it.
One stat man.
The one stat man. Take that stat out, Cuervo. Are we talking about him in the Hall of Fame? Of course not. But, it's the NFL, and it's, it is what it is.
Right.
You take that stat away from Cuervo, this guy doesn't even come close to the Hall of Fame. You just don't, And again, if you look at his last 5 years of his career, it's mediocre at best, just gaining the yards to get the number 3. But, hey, that is what it is. It works out the way it is. Hey, man, the Iron Man of the NFL is Frank Gore. And listen, I think that's actually a great title for him, by the way. All right, because you don't play 16 years in the NFL at the running back position for 16 years. So an Iron Man award, I want to give him all day long, which he deserves.
That's fair. I mean, we've talked about that before, where he is considered. He's like the Cal Ripken of the NFL.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you go.
He played maybe not in a row, but he played so many games. Kind of similar to that's what made him great is the durability, longevity.
Yeah,
last couple of years,
you say longevity, you say Frank Gore. I'm going to listen. I'm not even afraid to admit that. When you say longevity in the NFL, Frank Gore's got to be there because there's not too many. He might be the longest tenured running back to ever play. 16 years. I can't think of any other running back that played 16 years. And so I
think it's been longer than that.
No, it's 16 years. I'm almost sure it's I'm almost sure the number 16 because I thought it was 17. I found out I was wrong, so I'm almost sure it's 16. So, but still, 16 years. That's a long freaking time at the running back position, Cuervo. When the average career is 4 years, I mean, he quadrupled it. I mean, unbelievable. So I'll give him. Hey, you got to give the guy his due.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, you don't go in and start boxing, regardless whoever it is, unless you're an Iron Man. I'm telling you right now, he's going to go box now, I guess.
Yeah, he's going to fight. I don't know who he's fighting, but
it's another athlete. Frank Gore's going to fight another athlete. I forget who it was, but it was someone. Now Google's going to have Frank Gore fight. And he'll say who it is, who he's going to fight.
So he fought back in May.
Was it May?
Yeah, but I think he is going to
walk-off
fight someone else.
knockout, according to what this was. No, but I heard that he wanted. Let's see here. No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. He
fought Darren Williams, who used to play for the Utah Jazz.
He's supposed to fight another NFL player or something like that.
No, I know what you're talking about. It's not Frank Gore.
What am I thinking of?
Did I not send you the meme on that? Or not?
You may have, and I may have overlooked it or something.
It's Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell wants to fight
against none other than Mr. A.P. Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That is an interesting. I mean, listen. AP, I think AP will tear him up. But he's just a little bit older, so that could be the difference. But in their prime, man, if those two went at it, I'd pick Adrian Peterson. Look at how many guys that guy ran over in the NFL.
Oh, yes.
Just toughness alone, tells me that Adrian Peterson would win that fight.
Here we go.
I don't remember Le'Veon Bell running people over. Yeah,
I'm going to show you this, Sonny, since we don't have time to send it to you and create a border. Here it is.
Wow, there it is. When are they supposed to fight? When does it say? I can't see it. It doesn't say when.
No, I don't think there's a date yet. But yeah, these two are gonna.
So that's who I'm thinking. But Frank Gore was in. I know he was boxing. He beat Williams. Yeah, he beat Williams.
Williams beat him.
Yeah, Williams beat him.
Williams won that fight.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought Gore won that. So but still, listen, when you step into it, listen, I got a whole new respect for you if you're going to step into a boxing ring. I don't even care who you are. You can be Butterbean, and I got a lot of respect for him too. I mean, by the way, Butterbean, I heard from some people that got hit by him. It's one of the hardest punchers that they ever encountered. Butterbean, okay? Listen, Butterbean is me. I mean, I'm his twin, for God's sake.
You're his little brother, Sonny. You're his little brother. You're the little brother.
Yeah, so little Butterbean. So anyway, that's all I got, man. Because I was studying up for this. I mean, this is what it's all about. This is really week 1 of the NFL for us. I mean, when you think about, and then when we actually get to week 1, it just turns into fun. So, but make sure you sign up for the Pick'em game.
Definitely
make sure you get in on that. If you need the credentials, let me know. I'll get it to you. By the way, anybody that wants to get in on the credentials or wants to get in on the bragging rights Pick'em game, send me a message. I'll send it out to you. Get you the request. I gotta get my brother Fred in there. I gotta get Tarvin in there. Tarvin being the reigning champion that I want to knock off of his perch. I want to take him down. So I definitely have got some things in mind for this season. Even my brother, to a certain extent, I want to punch him out. So, both brothers, but mainly Dennis, the guy wins damn near beat Tarvin this year. He almost went for 2 in a row on us. So, and we sent out the plaque to Tarvin. Still has not sent me the damn picture where he's got it set up in his house. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to message him and say, "What's going on? I want to see that. I want to see it. I want to see where it's at. Even if you put it up on fake, just put it up to where I can get the picture."
He's slacking over there.
Slacking big time. So, but he's a dad. He is also a Little League baseball coach. Unbelievable. If you watch, this guy's always doing something with his munchkins. I don't know how he keeps up with it, and he's been traveling too. So add up on top of that, I hope. And by the way, just to let you know, folks that do sign up, we want you to be a part of it all 16 weeks. No matter how bad you are, you miss 2 weeks, we're kicking you out because I don't want to keep track of it. I mean, if you miss 2 weeks of the NFL,
you're not going to win.
You're not going to win. It's just not. So
even 1 week.
Even 1 week, but it's bad enough. But and here's another thing. I don't get into my softiness of I miss a game. I know who you would pick. I'm going to give him the game, which I've done. So this way, if you're not in, 5 minutes before the game, it's done. And so, by the way, I left it that way 5 minutes before the game, not
Okay, cool.
Not 5 minutes before the Sunday games. I just kept it that way just in case someone does miss the mornings. They can at least get the afternoons in. Maybe they can go on a roll in the afternoon, something like that. So, that's the reason why I'm going to keep that part in there. I wanted to cut it off on Sunday before kickoff, at noon. But I had some folks say, we probably should keep it the other way. What do you think? Is that a good way of keeping it? 5 minutes before the game itself?
Yeah, 5 minutes before kickoff. I'm good with that.
Yeah, for all the games. So even Monday night, you got until 5 minutes before Monday night's game.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah, that's where we're going to do it, and keep it in. So I'm excited about bragging rights. I'm excited about Saxy Mustang football. I'm excited about Sunday mornings. I mean, hey, it's the time of the year where those that went into hibernation for 6 months are beginning to poke their heads out, and it's groundhog. That's what it is. That's the first game. The preseason game is actually Groundhog Day. You get out and take a look, and then next week those preseason start games. Those start Thursday. The regular preseason games start Thursday. So we got football at least to watch, and then college football is 3 weeks. Or 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. High school football for us, August 25th. By the way, 2 out of district games. Now, if you don't know much about high school football, but Coppell is a good football team. They're not great, but the Prosper Eagles, they're a damn good, nationwide high school. People keep track of them. So that'll be an interesting play for the Saxon Mustangs before they go into district. So it's going to, man, I'm telling you, I'm just like this. For the last 3 months, I've been like this, getting ready for football and getting back to where, somewhat of a normal life for Sonny, getting us back in the booth. 2 years not in the booth, Cuervo. It's been nuts. So, but that's all I got. Do you have anything?
I think I'm good, sir.
I think, yeah. It's early enough for you. It's only noon over there, right?
Yeah, it's only noon over here.
So what's the plans this afternoon?
I'm ordering lunch right now for us. And
not going anywhere. You just hanging out today?
I think it's so
You've
hot
been
over
busy,
here,
dude. I'm telling you right now. I watch your page, dude. You're busy. You're busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, man. Damn. But I think that's what happens.
Well, how does that work? No.
Yeah, you're in demand, man. That's what happens, So.
Well, I'm in demand with one person at least.
Well, and that means you're in demand with everybody because you're pulled along with that. You're an anchor in reality. So you're doing pretty good, by the way, with that anchor. You're right on. So.
Just doing what I can, son.
Yeah, gotta keep them happy. You're doing it, and you're doing it right too. So her first, me second on Sunday. I've even accepted the fact I'm second on Sunday. So I'm good. I'm good.
You know what? You know this better than anybody. Marriage is about compromise. That is number one. I don't care. You could talk about love.
I haven't been so successful in them.
Yeah, you could talk about all the lovey-dovey stuff all you want. I'm gonna tell you right now, nothing is more important than compromise. That's it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Drop my pen. But anyway, all right. That's all I got. Next week, AFC NFC
going down south.
Man, how are we going to make those dumpster fires look good? I guess we're going to try. We'll see what we can do. Someone's got to win that division.
Right.
that who knows who will be? I don't know. But check us out next week as we cover the AFC and the NFC South. I'm excited about it. Hope everybody has a great day.
I'll say that NFC is pretty easy, but the AFC, we'll find out.
Oh, yeah. Well, that just depends on all what's going out that way. So I guess we'll figure that all out. We'll check that. We'll do that next week. And then we get into the meat of it. AFC, NFC North, and AFC, NFC West. And that actually, we did it good with the timing because then the next week number 1 of the NFL, the timing was almost perfect we did on this.
Right.
Yeah, so we did good. All right, so that's going to do it for us here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Join us at the same time earlier the better?
Yes. Yeah, this
Earlier better.
works
So
out
11
really good.
o'clock. All I got to do is change the graphic and put up the new ones. Hey, you're making it easy on Sonny. I like this.
Hey, I want Sonny. I want you to work smarter, not harder. Okay?
Yeah, and sometimes you just need to put in 2 new
That's
pictures,
right.
and I don't even need to change the graphics. This is good. I like
Working
that.
smarter.
Thanks for making it easy on Sunday, and thanks for joining us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Catch you next week. Who knows? Maybe we'll pop up if there's some big news, because something tells me there might be some big news coming up this week. We'll find out on the Couch Potato Sports Show. And that being said, we'll see you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.